Okay, perfect. So YouTube stream is up. I just had to open it up really quickly. Um, so that way now when the ads are playing, I'll just keep on going, and if you guys wanna just watch on there very briefly, and then you can just turn back to Twitch, you won't miss out on much. But there we are. Okay, so a lot of things are going wrong for Absolute Cinema. I mean, just to break it down step by step, we already know at this point in the game they're already falling so far behind in terms of overall experience. Their team comp is garbage, at least in my opinion. Um, Objectives are going to spawn very shortly. You still don't have like Talonflame is just evolving right now.
As we get real close.
Raichu kind of inted in the bottom lane. Like I don't know what they were doing.
Take a look at that zoom in on
Oh,
that
so they got heavy slam by Snorlax, and then they just got caught out. It's just like pure CC.
Yeah, beautiful stuff right there. Zooming in on the Pokemon with the longest range in the game. It's like let's see what they're thinking about right now as we get real close. But yeah, Toon is ready to go here. Almost.
And then here, so in a situation like this, like what do? You already know you're far behind in terms of levels. You're not playing that well. What's the best What's the best course of action that you can do in this situation if you're on Absolute Cinema? Number one, just forget about bottom lane. Bottom lane is a lost cause. All right, you're like there's no reality or there's no situation unless Noun's literally all DC at the same time that you're gonna win a fight down there. People are not in position. You're under leveled. Your team comp is debatably garbage. So at this point, they should just have all 5 people just going top lane. Now the problem here is they were doing what they needed to do. Unfortunately, these guys decide to fight before people got into position, and they get punished for it. So now it's like you're in this situation where, hey, buddy, old pal, Sylvia. Oh, what the heck? Why is my font so big? I don't know why the font is so big. It's weird. Let me try this again. I did. It was smaller before. Now it's back to original wonky size. Um. Are you clicking save? There is no save, but I am. Okay, there. Like I don't know why, but like okay. So yeah, now we're in this position where these guys choose a team. Like I don't even want to call it a team fight because the team isn't even there. But the point is like these guys are fighting before Talonflame gets there. Like Talonflame over here, Raichu just died, and they're rotating from base to top lane. So if they waited, like this would not happen. The problem is here is now Gyarados picks up 2 kills in a 2v2, which eventually ends up in a 2v4 situation. But it's like, if you were patient, you may have not died. And on top of that, you could have got the objective. Now, obviously, you don't necessarily want to break the goal to give these guys farm. But at the same time, if you are waiting for. Like, the problem is here, it's like a double-edged sword situation where, okay, if you get this Regieleki, you potentially break this goal. Potentially, you don't have to, but it's possible. The good thing is that you open up the map and you compensate for the lack of levels that you have by getting points. So at least you don't fall too far behind in terms of just point value. But then, of course, you give farm to these guys, which you don't necessarily want to do, but yeah, that's like a what's the word I'm looking for? It's like unintended consequences of like your decision making. Um, but the problem is, if you leave this Regieleki up, then you're at risk of falling even further behind because these guys are going to get the bottom Reggie for free, and then eventually they're going to rotate top lane, whether it be, you know, recall the base or cut down straight through the middle, and then you leave that for them. So it's like, then it reaches the point where you're falling behind in levels, and you're going to potentially fall behind in points.
Level 9, Gatlu moving in here, huge KO, Talonflame into the sky, lands the fly, Gatlu's in a little bit of trouble, Inder trying to move in, Gatlu makes that with a whirlpool, but here comes the Alolan Raichu to KO the other way.
Wow, I mean, they kind of steal a knockout in terms of the escape, but it will be Inder hanging out on that goal zone, Brub trying to defend their
Okay, so they got the Registeel.
Fabo stealing away.
Now they're kind of just chilling. Decidueye's trying to score.
A whole lot of slapping each other, but not a whole lot of KOs.
Here we have Inder looking to see if he can make something happen right here. The fly up into the air, not able to get it done for the side of Nouns. Beautiful stuff there from Absolute Cinema. Holding that move until the last possible moment, which of course is the right call there. They need their secure move.
Decidueye wasn't surprising enough in terms of this draft. It is a Leaf Storm Decidueye, so a move that has gotten some decent buffs in, I don't know, recent months, I suppose. It's been a while since that last change. However, it is going to be a rather nice option. Make sure that range we were talking about, how we can outrange that Alolan Raichu, will just stay steady, always able to push anybody away who gets too close.
Yeah, for sure, the Talonflame, right? I mean, you've got a reverse Scorpion on your hands. Instead of a get over here, you've got to give a get out of here with that Leaf Storm, which is very, very nice. Yeah, you were wondering what the reverse Scorpion meant. I got there.
Yeah.
I made it.
I was finding, yeah. Ooh, Natsu taking a lot of damage. Gatlu just trying to push him away to see if they can get those 40 points in. Reminder, Gyarados, a Pokemon that loves to stack that attack weight throughout this matchup. And so far, Nouns Esports not a lot of scores, but here is a big gold zone push on that bottom side of the map.
Yeah, and here we go. They're moving forward right here. Nice Spirit Shackle catching the Alolan Raichu. Heavy Slam misses right there, but the Spirit Shackle does not. Block pushing forward. Sylvia.
Oh my god.
Sylvia now up into the air using their Unite move, but a huge catch from Brub, who gets away on his rocket ship with almost 0 HP.
I mean, I guess Sylveon stalled long enough so they can't score, but yeah, everyone dying in the bottom lane. What, 0 for 3?
Almost level 11 up here.
Not what you want to have happen.
The summer, right? Working on their summer bod, throwing the kettlebells and getting swole in the top path. Almost level 11, which is huge. That's what you want from your top path Pokemon. To stay up there, put pressure on your opponents, and get very strong for all of the big fights that are coming. On the other side, we have Umbreon sort of ready to go, watching their opponents right here. But with 4 members of Nouns, this could be tricky. Here we go. Talonflame moves in and helps pick up a massive KO to start this Regirock fight.
Yeah, a lot of great damage. And now
They got a 5 versus 3. They got an early game pick.
Peppering in damage from the back.
Nice going in. Pops the Unite move.
That Regirock. Now we're getting extremely low secure.
Oh my god.
I started this broadcast talking about how the Unite move not a great secure tool, and the final hit.
Like, seeing Decidueye secure that with their Unite move, I think, is just so depressing.
Here looking like our solo queue allies trying to secure objectives with a Unite move, but it works. Obviously zoned out of this fight. Beautiful moment for them, and it just wasn't enough for Absolute Cinema to secure it in time. The ending.
Like, look at the Spirit Shackle just being so oppressive to the backline.
Ripping through Absolute Cinema.
Yeah, that nice defense buff is going to allow Brub and Adesu to play a bit more aggressively. Obviously, an all-rounder and defender. Pretty decent defensive stats. Adding on that Regirock allows them to push a little bit more. And we were talking about what Gatlu wants to do in this game on the Gyarados. That objective secure on the bottom allows Nouns Esports to play more aggressively on that goal zone. Gatlu getting some more stacks in and almost at the level 13, breaching it now with that Regieleki hit.
Level 13 Gyarados here at 3 minutes 30. Level 13 Decidueye. Things are looking pretty incredible here for Nouns. We have Talonflame moving in, trying to pick up a KO. Not much happening. Here comes the Waterfall moving forward. Gyarados Unite move heading underwater. We have Sylveon jumping up into the air to try to counter this. Talonflame looking for this Decidueye, but missing once again. Now we have Gyarados finally going down as they continue this chase. Adesu getting taken down here by the Hyper Voice, but no, he actually gets a Alolan Raichu before it goes down. 2 members of Nouns now ripping at this Regieleki. This should head to the side of Nouns. Perfect.
Wow, Aaron, the #1 fugitive on Absolute Cinema, not able to get KO'd a single time in that team fight. Also, love that giant camera. I was casting one side of the team fight. You were casting another.
It was fun.
I absolutely adore that. But Sylveon able to avoid so much damage thanks to that huge Unite move. One of the best parts of it is the defensive aspects for Sylveon. But looks like Nouns Esports posturing for yet another goal.
Oh man, Talonflame is so weak to the point where it doesn't even threaten the backline of Nouns Esports. Like, you're level 11, you take one Spirit Shackle, and you're pretty much using your fly to run away every single time.
232-19.
And then, unlike Brave Bird, like, unless you're literally just sitting in a bush and then you fly out of it, it's so much easier to predict and see, like,
only level 11 right now. It's going to be really tough for
the talent flame in comparison to Brave Bird, where you can sit in a bush, but you, like, people have less time to react once Brave Bird is being used. Obviously, you know, Brave Bird is a little bit higher risk just because you have to aim it yourself, and then of course, like once you go in, it's like a one-way ticket unless you're playing Trick Koopa, for example.
On its HP, by the way, on the bottom side of your screen, but it's Fabao getting a lot of early information, doing some damage, but it's Gatlu on this flank. Watch that top side.
Yeah, beautiful stuff from Gatlu. He's looking to start this fight. The Dragon Breath hits too, but they're going to Whirlpool out. They're way ahead on the scoreboards. They really don't need to make a play, and Zoinks called it out. You are seeing Rayquaza's HP on the
How's it going,
screen,
Mac?
and that is because of a lot of hard work here, but Zoinks is too humble to say that this was his idea, and it's absolutely beautiful.
Oh, well, thank you so much. We have Talonflame on a score attempt, trying to back cap. Ender going to be very quick on the rotation to stop that, but all this...
You know what I just realized as well, which is a huge fundamental problem with this team comp? I just realized right now, and it's my fault because I'm like, I don't know, maybe I'm just like tunnel visioning, but I just realized it's Trick Koopa. So they literally have almost zero sustain besides the Umbreon. And the thing is, like, the Umbreon sustain is not enough for the Decidueye poke, especially considering how far ahead they are. So besides the horrible team comp they drafted, it's like, what are you going to do when literally before the team fight even starts, like, you're starting off the fight at like half HP?
This was his idea, and it's absolutely beautiful.
Oh, well, thank you so much. We have Talonflame on a score attempt, trying to back cap. Ender going to be very quick on the rotation to stop that, but all this damage in Umbreon, that's going to be the defender down for Absolute Cinema. Now Z-Sports in a great position. They've held their opponents only to 19 points, and they don't need to touch this Rayquaza.
Yeah, this is so difficult for Absolute Cinema right now. About a minute left on the clock. They need to make a play. They're very far behind. They have to get a huge catch, but with the levels and the positioning here from Nouns, running into one of the best teams in EU, possibly one of the best teams in the world, this is just so difficult for them. 55 seconds now. They're preparing for their last push because it's going to be their final push, whatever they decide to do here as they head towards the top path.
Wow, and they even have the hoop on the bottom side as well if they really want a portal back in another direction. And there it is. Neil's going to drop that portal immediately in Absolute Cinema, all in on this Rayquaza.
Yeah, here we go. Once again, Decidueye Unite move, but looking for KOs right here. Rayquaza's already at half. It's starting to go down, but Absolute Cinema getting ripped apart right here. Even if they take it, it will not matter. Koopa, the final Pokemon up, but it is going down. Now,
yeah, I mean, like, there was not much to say. And it's funny because I said this, like, this is the exact situation I talked about even before I started watching this game, where if it came down to a situation where Absolute Cinema was playing from behind, they have no reliable way of doing Rayquaza. And yes, technically they got the Rayquaza, but everyone's dead, so it doesn't even matter. Like, getting Rayquaza doesn't matter if you're still going to lose the game anyways. But, you know, it's just one of many things that went wrong this game.
Even though they were able to take that Rayquaza, flip that thing, it did not matter. One shield was not enough.
Yeah, I mean, great defensive.
Alright, so I can fast forward this just a bit. Just the next match.
I mean, can you have a path with more crowd control in our current metagame? I don't know, you're going to have it on. But, I mean, I have to ask you, you mentioned...
I mean, just putting everything into a nutshell right now, I think Absolute Cinema didn't really play to win. Like, honestly, just gave up too much experience. They didn't utilize their... I don't even want to say they had any advantages because they never got any, really. I think they just executed whatever strat they were trying to execute poorly. They played poorly. They got punished. And that just allowed Nouns to kind of get like a free win, quote unquote. The jungle thing was just awful. Losing your lanes with numbers advantages, terrible. And then it just became a domino effect of you giving up too many leads, and then you just couldn't recover.
Kind of in tandem, a lot of these double snipers a few times now.
damage that you'll take. A pretty powerful Unite move as well. You really don't want to be near this Pokemon.
Now it's got an option that it can boost in terms of
Draft here for game number 2. Nouns will be getting the first pick right here, which is interesting, right? Absolute Cinema gets the opportunity to take either first or second. I feel like a lot of teams right now noticing the power of those 2 picks in a row.
Yeah, and interesting. Another Lapras span comes through for Absolute Cinema. So clearly have done some kind of homework. Knows that Bruv wants to be playing that Pokemon quite a bit. In this position, we saw the Suicune picked again, and it will be a Desu locking up that Pokemon yet again.
One thing that's for sure, not only did Talonflame have to deal with a very slippery Decidueye last game, every time you are near Suicune, oh man, it is just such a nightmare to deal with, right? Just all of the stuns and all of the slows that you're dealing with, being frozen, the extra damage that you'll take, a pretty powerful Unite move as well. You really don't want to be near this Pokemon, and it does have the sort of tankiness of an all-rounder as well, so it's very interesting.
I just simply don't think you can give up positioning around a Rayquaza fight to a composition like that. Like, Snorlax and Suicune are going to shut down any entry point. But okay, here we go. Absolute Sinnoh with the chance to take away.
Okay, I already have a problem with this. I already know, so I'm going to assume. Wait a minute. No, they have Umbreon and Hoopa, so this is a more carry-oriented Mewtwo, and then they pick Decidueye as well. So okay, let me see the rest of the team comp. Let me see what's going on here. But I already have a problem with Absolute Cinema's team comp right now.
Double sacking, by the way, both attack weight and the Accelerator, as well as that Muscle Bang.
Yeah, here we go. Final couple of picks over to the side of Nouns. We see Ender hovering this Eldegoss once again. Toon now deciding to pick up the Talonflame, maybe saying, look, I'll show you how it's done. You've got Decidueye. This is what this bird is supposed to do. Final pick over to the side of Absolute Cinema. Nazu hovering and locking in the Phalanx. So I got it.
Okay, so Absolute Cinema side, just to kind of backtrack, it was first pick Suicune, then Absolute Cinema picked up their support and defender, meta picks, Hoopa, Umbreon. Nouns went with the Gyarados and Snorlax. Then Absolute Cinema decided for Mewtwo and Decidueye. And this is kind of where I went, like, where I have the problem. So number one, you already reveal a lot of information about your team comp with the picks that you have, because obviously, like, you already pick your support and defender. Unless you're gonna go, quote-unquote, like, carry attacker Umbreon, even though it's defender, like, which is not realistic, which is like the foul play and like attack weight build with a little bit more offensive items. Not really realistic, but it's possible. That being said, the moment you lock in Mewtwo and Decidueye, you got problems because you are playing 2 glass cannons and you voluntarily choose to play them against a shit ton of CC and something that you're going to struggle to kill, which is the Gyarados eventually. On top of that, they're not very useful in the early game. Like, they take time to scale to become relevant threats. Mewtwo has a little bit of an earlier power spike than Decidueye, but overall, they still need time to scale into the late game. Considering how Game 1 played out, I don't think playing for late game is in Absolute Cinema's best interest, considering how poorly the early game went last game. And they were playing characters that were debatably more early game oriented than this team right now. So it's like, you had a better early game team comp last game, but you didn't play the early game well, and now you're playing for the late game, but your early game is even worse than last game, if that makes sense. I know that was a lot of rambling, but basically, last game, they had an early game team, they got absolutely destroyed. Now you're playing a late game team with no early game Pokemon, unless you're including Umbreon, I guess. Like, Hoopa and Umbreon are not bad, it's just they're not amazing. Phalanx, it's more skill-based than anything else. I just feel like they're just gonna struggle. Like, and this is me saying like these things before the game starts, because obviously it's easier to talk shit or it's easier to make observations once you already see things that are happening in the game. As for the Nouns side, they pretty much stuck with pretty much everything. I think the only thing that's different on their side is so they took away Decidueye from Nouns, but Toonslim is now going on Talonflame, which is honestly perfectly fine, considering you chose something that can easily dive their backline, and depending on how the game goes, they might be the biggest threats or they might be useless. Who knows?
Gotta say, 50 points just stacked back, but I'm excited to see what it does in this game. Now, obviously, Absolute Cinema would love this win here. They're not out of this tournament if they get knocked down here, but man, they would love to get their spot, especially against a team like Nouns.
Oh my word! I mean, if you beat a team like Nouns in this first winner,
Yeah, someone's got to speed dial Mero and tell him that Charizard was played and the game actually got won.
Feel like you have a great chance to become the EU region.
Oh yeah, so
being knocked out for your first
they were well, not they,
Nouns
but
Esports
people have been pioneering
That's
support
right. Nouns
Decidueye this
Esports, your
tournament.
purple team, Absolute Cinema, your orange team. Nouns Esports one game away from securing that first spot here to
I really do like this though. This
Okay, so this time it's going to be Nonzu bringing the Phalanx into the central area. Last time we did see that swapped around, so
I think this is actually like a huge improvement.
Not 100% on what player
It needs to be tweaked though, because you can't see things like because you're zooming out. It's hard to see like the camps and stuff, but you know, sure it could be tweaked at some point.
Up to this top path right here, looks like deciding to skip that blue buff in the bottom path so they can possibly put some pressure onto this Magikarp.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Alora's Rowlet kind of.
Now they don't have to move the camera as much because literally they are like the camera's so far. Oh, by the way, Balling's getting rolled.
Toon and a Desu, just a dynamite trio, able to take down those Pokemon and get some early scores.
And look at this right here, just stacking up that attack weight on Talonflame. Early looking to get another KO right here. Wow.
Oh my god, okay. Let me count right now before I lose track. So, wait, did they get the kill?
Of the map. They're gonna go down though, early push.
One.
On the bottom side, again, Bruv, Toon, and a Desu.
Two.
Dynamite trio, able to take down those Pokemon and get some
Three.
scores.
And look at this right here, just stacking up that attack weight on Talonflame. Early looking to get another KO right here. Wow, this
Four.
is going to be so difficult.
Yeah, how's it going,
for
Zerdy?
Cinema to deal with. Not only are they getting the attack weight stacked,
Five. So I'm just gonna point out right now, besides the fact that bot lane got absolutely rolled in the 3v2, one thing it may seem very obvious, but for some reason I don't know why competitive players do this. Like, this is something I would expect in solo queue. Like, it's literally a 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's do our numbers. 1, 2, 3, and then you have this guy by himself because his lane partner died. Okay, I don't know why people feel the need to stay in a 1v3 as if they're gonna do something against 3 people as an EV. You literally could just walk away. Like, it's not like you need to stay here. It's a choice. Now, obviously, you could debate like, hey, they would just kill you in the flux zone, okay? But like, X Factor, thank you so much for the gifted tier 1 sub to Azerty. I appreciate it. Enjoy the 1 month of ad-free viewing courtesy of X Factor. But like, okay, like the thing is like, just walk away. Now now you gave up more points to the Talonflame right here, okay? And Toonslim is at 5 stacks 1 minute into the game. 1 minute. Do you know how much of a power spike that is? Like, in some matches, you're lucky enough to get like 3 stacks by the end of a match. You know, or like, like by the time you hit Rayquaza. But 5 stacks in a minute is insane. And I need to double check. I'm actually going to double check right now to see if they're running Acel Bracer, just so I can see. So I'm at 57-21. Hold on.
Have a lot of backline pressure. Maybe you want just a stronger front line to add Aaron.
Okay, so they are running Acel Bracer, by the way. So did they get a kill here? I need to double check.
In that bottom side.
So they got the kill on the Mewtwo. That's 2 stacks of the Acel Bracer. And then they got an assist right here, I believe, or was it a kill? No, they got the kill. So they got 4 stacks of Acel Bracer and 5 stacks of attack weight in 1 minute into the game? This Talonflame is fed as fudge!
Wow, this is just going to be so difficult for Cinema to deal with. Not only are they getting the attack weight stacks, they're getting the Excel Bracer stacks, and that's going to be very, very tough to fight, especially as soon as it hits level 7.
Yeah, looks like Natsu will be going with the more classic Iron Head and beat up combination.
Like, you are so the way I would phrase it in a way that makes it very simplistic for people that keep up with Pokemon Unite on a relatively semi-decent basis. ToonSlim is basically the EU version of Overlord, except he's not as consistent. Like, I don't think he's as consistent as Overlord, but he's basically like the EU version. So, when you feed someone like that, very early on, you're going to have very big problems in the later stages of the game, considering the fact that I already said numerous times that these guys don't have an early game team comp. And it, like, they're already getting punished for it.
Leap begin that last team fight at that level 5, but Gatlu is also
But we'll see what happens.
Waterfall
We shall see.
For this fight, and Dragon Breath and those auto attacks will be good enough for a knockout on Phalanx.
Yeah, I think that might have been up to those troopers.
Euro Lord?
Just staying
Yeah,
there
Euro
for
Lord.
A little too long, and the brass goes down because of it. Umbreon up to the top path right here, trying to push them around and push them away from this goal zone. So far, 50 points scored by Nouns. Talonflame is level 7, and on the other side, we only have level 5s from Absolute Cinema.
Yeah, Absolute Cinema trying some really
Plus the
creative
molding.
sections
This is
here.
just Thanos getting all the Infinity Stones.
Bit, but it feels like Nouns he's
Yeah, right now he's just building the gauntlet right now.
kind of punching for
Oh,
the-
there goes Umbreon.
Take a look at this. Toonsley
6,
trying to get another
7.
KO.
Wow, this is
So by the way, at this point in the game, which is literally 2 minutes and 9 seconds into the game, you have a 5-stack attack weight Talonflame, and I believe 7 out of 10 stacks of Acel Bracer.
just such a bad start here for Absolute Cinema. Nouns getting everything they want. Scoring, stacking up their attack weights.
They should honestly do a, what do you call it?
The Bravebirds
Oh, there goes.
crash in as they pick up
9 stacks, by the way.
What a combo play. So
5 attack weight and 9 Acel Bracer.
opportunities for Toonslim to capitalize on. And last match, I feel like we were talking
And
about
because you still have stacks to get, you're only getting stronger until you peak.
Is going to have their Unite move at level 9 for our first set of Reggie fights.
Yeah, look at that. Just ripping through all that experience there. We have Umbreon trying to stack. Just get a little advantage somewhere on the map here. We do have Phalanx in the central area here of Nouns. As Nouns is ready for this objective in the bottom path, Gyarados trying to stop them in the central area, but actually deciding to peel back top.
Yeah, Nazu just not finding experience anywhere else on the map. You may as well go for a burglary. He's going to be taking
10 stacks.
I believe, as you can see them clear.
Talonflame is that max stats for attack weight and Acel Bracer. And you can't see it right now, but off screen, they just picked up a double kill and they're just rolling over the enemy team.
10 Talonflame already, getting KOs on the tier 2 goal zone, securing Reg Ice now, and now they're going to start moving.
So the
forward.
only way they can possibly get stronger right now
In studio right here, we have a giant pop-up with Reg
is
Ice.
literally with levels. That's it. They just need to get more levels, but in terms of item value, they're at max value. They can't get any stronger from their items.
So clearly a successful invade.
Oh, Decidueye's dead again.
Tech weights is accident, and they're avoiding this waterfall Gyarados. No easy feat.
Actually, pretty impressive that they're able to make it out there. The Troopers almost slowing that down, but it does look like Absolute Cinema is going to be able to...
You can't see anything, but Talonflame is just cleaning house in the bottom lane.
On the board for Absolute Cinema. They are way behind in this moment, but you know, these Unite moves really can change the dynamic of what's happening. And imagine
Oh,
that
Phalanx got the
moving forward right here.
Regieleki, that's not bad.
Able to get it right here. Gary, on the other hand, using their Unite move and countering it.
All right, that Dust Devil formation going to be successful enough to knock out the Regieleki, but not enough to translate into any knockouts. And Nouns Esports obviously very comfortable in this top path, able to clear the Swablues even before knocking out this Regieleki. But real story here in the bottom side of the map is Absolute Cinema trying yet another push, only at 44 points total. Need to start putting some pressure on these tier 1s.
Ooh, Talonflame with a big swing and a miss. Huge
Nice.
Mewtwo Unite move picks up a massive KO, and they need that to kind of turn the tides right here. Umbreon up into the air. Mewtwo continuing their push with another side strike. Ender into the air trying to heal himself and Bruv and push away members.
Bro, Decidueye is
Cinema.
missing
Here
so
comes
many Spirit
Gyarados,
Shackles.
moving
It's
in with
crazy.
a waterfall, absolutely ripping through them as Mewtwo is going to need to peel away from this fight. They're going to give up the Umbreon and pull back.
Wait, hold on. I need to see this again.
KO, and they
Okay.
need that.
Only at 44 points total. Need to start putting some
So
pressure.
it looks
on
like
these
Nouns
tier
are in
1s.
complete
Ooh,
control,
Talonflame.
but unfortunately, Bruv was not able to body block that, and on top of that, Mewtwo pops their Unite move, so they just secure the kill. Very good kill to pick up. You can see the experience that Mewtwo just got. They went from level 9 to level 10, and they got the Mega Evolution. Decidueye is trying to get some damage down.
Right here. Umbreon up into the
Was that the Umbreon or the Spirit
Ooh,
Shackle? I can't
Talonflame
tell.
With a big swing and a miss. Huge
Nice.
Mewtwo Unite
Let me
move
see.
picks up a massive KO, and they need that to kind of turn the tides right here.
No, it looks like they did land it. Okay, so I think they landed on a Desu, but they missed it on Indy.
Umbreon up into the air. Mewtwo continuing their push with another side strike. Ender into the air trying to heal himself and Bruv and push away members of Absolute Cinema. Here comes Gyarados moving in with the waterfall. Absolutely ripping through them as Mewtwo is going to need to peel away from this fight. They're going to give up the Umbreon and pull back, but that was a great exchange for Absolute Cinema.
Yeah, honestly, almost a game-saving play.
Okay,
Aaron.
at this point in the game, Nouns are still very far ahead, but it was very good for like despite how things have been going up until recently, like Absolute Cinema were able to find a situation to actually get back into the game. They got a lot of experience. And keep in mind, despite the fact that Nouns got some trade kills, the kills that they, or the deaths that they give over to Absolute Cinema are worth much more because of the level difference. So in terms of overall value, if you're not including the top lane, if we're just talking about that fight that happened in the bottom lane, Absolute Cinema actually came out on top. Despite the fact that Nouns are still ahead in the game.
On that Mewtwo Y, not only the knockout, but of course that infinite Cyber and setting up so many great spots. Gatlu, if they had their Dragon Current, that could have been way worse for Absolute Cinema, but obviously had to use it in that Regieleki fight just a little bit earlier. That could have been a 3 knockout streak for Gatlu in that situation.
We have Gatlu in the top path right here, just spending their time getting as much experience as they possibly can. We have Hoopa trying to counter it in the top path. Spirit Shackle lands true. Gatlu's going to get pushed away from this a little bit. Nice Phantom Force as well, trying to bring them back towards the team. However, Nouns in perfect position to secure Regirock in the bottom path.
Okay, will finally be a goal zone break, though, as Gatlu takes the more aggressive angle in this team fight to knock out that Decidueye, and that will be successful, but now they're stuck in a 1v3. Adesu with the backup, huge Unite move, freezing every single target. It's just going to be setting up the runway for Nouns Esports.
Here comes Nouns looking to score more points. 153-115 now, much closer for Absolute Cinema than game 1. Bruv taking his rocket ship home. Now 243-115. We can agree that that Snorlax skin is one of the best things they've ever done, right?
Oh my word, yeah, absolutely.
It's incredible.
All right, it will be Regieleki with an easy KO for Nouns Esports. So in terms of objectives, Nouns Esports has been crushing it. Both the bottom side and Regieleki's have mostly been going in their favor. Of course, Natsu setting up one Regieleki.
I mean, so far right now, they've gotten no value out of this Trick Hoopa.
The better news for Absolute Cinema in this game compared to
Like the Trick Hoopa thing, it was supposed to be for like playmaking, but I don't know why they went Trick
Still very shy of Nouns 243
for their Decidueye and their Mewtwo.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean,
Well, I mean, like, I do, but, like-
very tough game. But game 1 was even worse than this, right? I mean, we're gonna see if they can make any.
The utility would have been
Some of these
better.
fights we've done particularly well. Nice Spirit Shackle hits multiple opponents right there, so they're gonna push forward. Yawn not able to put anyone to sleep, having to use the Snorlax Unite move to sort of stop this push here from Absolute Cinema, which it looks like it does. Failing's in a lot of trouble right now. Huge crash land from the Talonflame, moves in, but it looks like they could go down if they don't peel out. The aerial ace with the healing able to reposition Talon and get them out of a bad situation right back into a Brave Bird for the KO.
Jeez, yeah, Toon just doesn't know the word stop at this point. They are chiming in, getting some huge KOs, and look at this, bro! Oh, no! With a Yawn, attempts to set themselves up for a score, but just barely, not enough time to make it happen.
That had vibes of the Sableye Unite sending you home when you were defending a goal zone.
Ay, ay, ay.
In your face. It was very, very close to that happening. As we have
Hoopa, like, I don't want to say they face check, but like they're so far overextended for that.
Down here to Nouns. They're way up on score. Their levels look incredible, and now
The team as a whole wasn't ready for that, unless they were unless they were planning on uniting there. Like that was kind of just pointless.
Flames Bravebird needed to do more damage.
Yeah, and level 14 as well, just scaling higher and higher. The highest attack stat in the game at the moment with this level 14 level. So Rayquaza has spawned in yet again. Gatlu positioned on the top side of a Rayquaza pit, where honestly most of Absolute Cinema is preparing as well. This could be a huge dive target. They find the Dragon Breath. It's a lot of damage early.
Yeah, and it looks like Gyarados is going to have to peel away from this. They're trying to sort of shut it down, but I don't think they're going to be able to take this fight in a big way. As we have them moving.
Oh my god. Hoopa just, like, Hoopa is getting constantly picked off.
Desu and Toonslim to combine their abilities together. Natsu is just going for a run. Needs to mad dash out of that fight. Fable going to be healing themselves up with the Wish. They are that main defender. They need to have a presence, but it's a back cap from Toonslim to get a hundo burger.
Now they just need, like, at this point, because Talonflame just scored, it went from a relatively close game to now they need Rayquaza to win this game. Or to wipe the team and then score, either or. Team fight or Rayquaza.
Member of Absolute Cinema. So there's absolutely something that they can do here. They need a strong catch. They need to take something down. The Spirit Shackles are hitting the Snorlax right here. The Side Strike. Talonflame moving in and picks up a huge KO.
At least Mewtwo got the Unite move off before they went down, but now it is going to be that Hoops Unbound directly on top of the Rayquaza pit. Yet again, Fabao goes down before they can even get that Wish healing off, and it's going to be Nouns Esports absolutely crushing yet another team fight. Rayquaza will be secured by Hoopa, but they are the only member with the Rayquaza shield.
The same thing happened again. Like, Absolute Cinema get the Rayquaza, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because everyone's dead, and there's no time either.
It's not enough. Now the score's happening in the main base. That is a hundo burger right there. Shout out to Dupes next. 507, 118 here, and it looks like Nouns is going to be your first team from EU qualified for Worlds.
Wow, Nouns Esports. They're going to be headed to NA a couple of times later this year. One for NAIC, of course, in New Orleans, but also they will be attending Anaheim for that World Championships, like you just mentioned, with a 2-0 finish.
Okay, hold on a minute. Hold on.
Beautiful stuff right there. Now, of course, it's not done for Nouns. This tournament is not done. They want to
Give me another 60 seconds. I just need to look at something really quickly. What's the name of that team again? Okay, we'll do it like this. Sorry, I was trying to find like a tier list thing. But, okay. So what I'm gonna do is that because, so... How do I... If I make it bigger here, will it make it bigger for the other ones? No, okay, perfect. Okay, so you know what? I'm gonna rate Nouns last, but Absolute Cinema, at least based on what I saw, they go into the... What happened to my window capture? Put base cam on the right? Yeah, I can move it. Just give me 1 second. I don't know why my thing is not registering my... Oh, there we go. Perfect. Sorry, for some reason it just stopped registering the window was open. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'll rate Nouns last, but based on the game, like they can move at any point. Like if I see multiple series and they change my mind, I'll move them up or down accordingly. But for the time being, Absolute Cinema goes in the D tier. They are the first series that I've watched today, but this is based on numerous factors. I think they executed poorly, they drafted poorly, and there was really no point during pretty much any of the matches and any of the 2 matches where they like took the initiative to like get like there were no proactive plays. It was all like reactive and they just fell behind. It's as simple as that. With the exception of that one fight in the bottom lane where they were able to get a few kills to get some comeback experience, that was like the only light in the tunnel that kind of showed. But otherwise, yeah, like they just got gapped. It's just that simple.
Want to keep moving on. They want to win the
ban fake.
huge moments now.
Pretty
All over the board. However,
what 100% in cap to climb between both.
and play matches, but first game, we just got to see.
We'll see him again soon. But Chef, we already have our ban.
So this was actually a pretty competitive match, I think, because Grim Reapers were like a ragtag. So Grim Reapers are, I believe, a new team, but they're like veteran UCS players. They're like players that played over the course of the entire competitive like circuit, and then they ended up just coming like basically they're the remnants of other teams, and they just collectively came together to form their own team, and they were actually doing really well. They have no previous track record because I think they just came together for this tournament, and they were undefeated going up until now, according to the statistics at the beginning of the stream.
No real surprise there, neither the Psyduck or the Suicune, but Snorlax, I mean, that says 6% there. In comparison to all of the others, why is this Snorlax getting banned?
Yeah, we did see, I think, one Snorlax ban so far, but it's not that surprising to me. The defender picks are really strong right now. I mean, it is pretty interesting that we're seeing some chips away, but Snorlax has been good for quite a while, and especially right now. It's just so good at making those plays. We get to see Nouns use it very well. On the other side, though, there's some really strong supports that are not being banned because we're seeing more defender bans. For example, the Hoopa getting picked up off the bat, and immediately on the other side, going to go for the Eldegoss.
I think that's really interesting considering.
I mean, there are a lot of things available here. So there's a Snorlax ban, there's Suicune ban, there's Psyduck ban, there's Raichu ban, which leaves so many things open. You got Gyarados, you got Umbreon, you got Blissey, you got oh wait, no, Raichu's ban. Like Hoopa was picked. In terms of supports, you got a few options. You got Eldegoss, you got Blissey, you got Comfey. But obviously, if you pick Blissey, you're at, like, unless you take Umbreon right away, you're at risk of getting counterpicked by that Pokemon. Hoopa obviously offers a lot of macro and utility as well. You can play 2 different play styles, which allows for a lot of flexibility depending on your team comp, which is really good. Hoopa is like a safe pick, and it doesn't really have a hard counter. Eldegoss, just flat healing. Zacian, top lane, strong pick.
That we saw. What 100% encounter rate.
Gyarados in response.
It looks like John Midu is going for something a little bit different here. However, this is something we've seen time and time again. Lunderer choosing that Inteleon Megu on the Gyarados, so this combination, and also, I don't know, I mean, obviously we're still in that pick phase, and we still have the option to change items, but I spy a Rocky Helmet on that Gyarados.
Back to the Rocky Helmet
Back to
Gyarados.
the ACL days.
I
That wasn't that long
know.
ago.
I feel like we've had so many conversations about the Rocky Helmet on the Gyarados. I will point back again that it's really interesting that we saw the first pick Eldegoss, because it doesn't feel like that's getting stolen away from you. Obviously, I kind of feel like that maybe means that you're choosing something secretive, especially being in that second place last pick. We are going to see the Urshifu again, though, which is something we haven't seen for a while.
Oh, Venusaur too. Okay. So there are a lot of things going on here. It started off as a relatively meta draft so far. Like obviously just picking meta Pokemon. Hoopa, Eldegoss, pretty standard stuff. Obviously you had the option to go for Blissey as well, so they decided to go with Eldegoss instead. Gyarados, obviously meta top lane pick, like I said. I've said this so many times already, but I feel like a broken record. If you're a top laner, if you're not playing at least like 2 out of the 4, which is like Gyarados, Zacian, Blaziken, Buzzwole, like you are probably just shooting yourself in the foot and making the game harder for yourself because you're just not picking up like the meta is always gonna change and you need to adapt with the times. If you were like opt into not playing things that are objectively strong, then either you need to have like another good alternative pick or you just need to play really well on whatever you're choosing to play. Otherwise you're probably going to struggle. So Gyarados and Zacian, both strong top lane picks. Inteleon hasn't seen much change. It's still a solid attacker. I always had reservations about Crustle, especially as a support. I'm not a Crustle fan personally. I think it's one-dimensional. I think it's pretty... I think it's like a bland Pokemon. It's pretty easy to kind of play around it. It's like, yeah, there's a Rock Tomb build, but realistically, if you're positioning properly as well as just having a decent team comp to play around you, depending on, you know, what it is you have on your team, it's pretty easy to avoid that. Urshifu is something that we don't see a lot of anymore just because of other picks taking priority over it, as well as, you know, nerfs to Surging Strike over the course of time, and even the Wicked Blow moveset. Darkrai is a little interesting. It can work, just because there is no Blissey to worry about on the enemy team. We'll see if... I'm assuming they're going jungle. Unless Zacian's going jungle, but I'm pretty sure it's Darkrai jungle. I could be wrong. Umbreon, obviously a solid choice overall, and of course it's a direct counter to something like a Crustle as well, where you can just steal the Unite move. Venusaur... I'm assuming they're... It's hard to say what moveset they're going. It could be either or. I imagine they would be going Solar Beam, but I could be wrong. Like, it's hard to say. Like, but yeah, I mean, I think, like, on paper, on the side of... There were better I think there are better options. Like, Urshifu and Crustle are kind of like mid to me personally. Everything else is fine. I still don't know what moveset Venusaur is going until I actually see the game being played, so we'll see. The Tickle, by the way, I see redeemed. Hello, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. But yeah, we'll see.
Before the broadcast.
Yeah, Venusaur. So, Petal Dance was recently buffed, actually. So this might make sense pairing it up with that Eldegoss, because late game, you do have that damage reduction, but you also have the healing throughout the match as well. However, I mean, Grim Reapers really living it up to their name, picking this Darkrai. I mean, what Grim Reaperish character do we have? That, I mean, that pretty much just represents him.
Yeah, actually does put people to sleep, exactly like the other two were saying. So I think that's now canonically accurate. But interestingly enough, there have been some different ways that you get to choose and play Darkrai. One of them being the support set, and one of them being a little bit more of an actual damage dealer.
Oh, sorry. So we can fast forward this just because there's yapping right now.
Help him along.
Be Gen 5 in purple, Grim Reapers on the orange side.
Okay, so it is Darkrai
Love
jungle,
the
so
fact
that
we get to
is-
see all of this out of the gate. Zero.
There's Shifu and Darkrai jungle. We got Inteleon and Umbreon in the bottom lane. Crustle and
Same old, same old. There were the Gossifleur
Venusaur in the bottom lane.
Darkrai, I guess, just to prevent any potential invades that are going to come out from Hooper, but they didn't actually go and risk it. But actually, Gossifleur has that red buff, so just to help him along with that slow as they go and pressure this tier 1 pad, looking to take this fish down.
Oh yeah, I mean, Gossifleur, Eldegoss with red buff is so scary. It's really, I mean, it's a damage dealer. You're like looking at that path and you're like, oh yeah, the support probably not that scary, but you're a little bit more scared of that than Zacian sometimes, especially when you've got a relatively weak comp on the other side, having to get that Magikarp up and on board. And it does look like we're going to see some focus from Grim Reapers to try and deal with this top path pretty well. Stop the Gyarados from popping off early, which is really important. Its early game is so strong once it evolves.
We didn't actually have any rotations from that bottom path into top like we usually see. So sticking to that 2v2 down here, 3v3 up in that top path. But we do have Utah that has evolved into that Umbreon. It's just a matter of getting Lunda on board. But this Rock Tomb to go and cut them off, whether they can take out this Drizzle, no, they do not. They're able to Felsinger out.
And that's a pretty scary bottom path, by the way, as well for Gen 5, kind of balancing out there a little bit of weaker top.
I mean, a bit slower, but like the early game is slower. But at the same time, no one has given up any unnecessary advantage.
Still not bad. Still
So very even game so far for the most part.
I know the dancing.
Oh, that is
Darkrai is level 7 though.
The little supporters dancing with each other, waiting for chaos to just ensue as these birds do end up spawning. Otherwise, Umbreon ends up getting taken down by that Sacred Sword. Megu trying to get out with their waterfall, but that Rock Tomb does end up cutting them off.
Very nice.
Love the,
Good CC from the Dark Void from Darkrai and Zacian following up with their Sacred Sword. Lots of damage in the early game as well as just a good amount of CC.
Zone, but back to it's been, I mean, I don't want to say it's been a while, but there was certainly that point in time where we were seeing all trick Hoopa, and now seeing the portal again means that the rotates back up to defend. Any of these gold zones are going to be so incredibly fast, and so no mileage able to be taken from Grim Reapers. They're still going to be fighting over this experience.
This right here, like, very, very, very questionable portal from the Hoopa. Like, I like. It's like a mix of a positioning thing as well as just like
back up to defend. Any of these gold zones are going to be so incredibly fast, and so no mileage able to be taken from Grim Reapers. They're still going to be fighting over this experience in the center. Umbreon will be going down, and that'll be the best that I think Grim Reapers.
I don't think that was the greatest portal placement. I think they were thinking Gyarados was gonna die, but the thing is Gyarados got like got out, but then their teammate kind of sacrificed their life to make sure they get out.
It's going to be a Reg Ice down in that bottom half.
Ooh, already getting down to about half HP as everybody's going in. The Petal Dance might just, Petal Dance, sorry.
Yeah, it is Petal Dance Venusaur, by the way.
Just be doing a lot of passive damage, so it's a little bit awkward. We don't have the greatest.
So you have like another pseudo front line for your team.
In that moment to be able to try and stop that flip. So definitely a chaotic little fight, and nobody chose to try and get any momentum off of it. We still have a completely 0-0 score at the 6-minute 30-second mark. Very, very strange to see, but we've got some great defenders on both sides, especially that Hoopa being able to change those rotations to be quicker. The AoE damage that we see on Grim Reapers from the Zacian and the Venusaur. It's just going to be tough. Regieleki, though, maybe you'll be able to get a team their first points. No steal available from Gen 5.
No, the Zacian is going to secure it. However, they do take a chunk of damage from that Inteleon sniping on out. Class is also at half HP, but they're not going to back on down. They're going to Petal Dance on through, hoping to guide this Regieleki through. And it does end up going in. So finally, we have some points on the board.
Yeah, and so many points in the pockets of everybody on the map. We are going to see Crustle get taken down, but just trying to space it out so that everybody can successfully get their points in. Not that it's going to be that difficult, but hopefully they're able to escape. Doesn't look like they're going to get a great chance. Venusaur is going to go all the way back, but looks like Galaxy on the Zacian is going to run all the way around into the center area of Gen 5, and they're going to be using agility quite well to be able to get out of that situation safely. They managed to get a few members to chase them. A great distraction so that we didn't see Grim Reapers lose any more than they had to there.
I guess that's the downside of having Hyperspace Hull Hooper instead of a Trick Hooper. You don't end up getting that speed boost when you actually need it. But 14 points to 104, almost at that halfway mark. We already have 3 Unites available for this next fight on the side of Grim Reapers. Gen 5, they have no yellow dots above their heads.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. They had to use a lot in this previous fight. This might be a time where you just have to give up a basement Reggie. They do have some sneaky little attempts to steal over there, especially with the the Inteleon being that perfect range. It is getting pretty well body blocked, though. I don't think there's going to be a great chance. We popped the Unite from the Hoopa. It wasn't enough to get the steal. A great Hyperspace Fury, but still the aggression will at least, be shut down by that Hoopa portal. It is going to allow everybody to get back down, and so
This game is a lot more,
there's these small wins back and forth. For
I guess the
every
best
team,
way to
but
phrase it is
nobody
like a little bit
really
more
much. The only exception being that Regieleki
calm and
pushed
collected
up
in
top,
comparison
only
to
getting a tier 1
game
red
number
zone,
or the
so
series, the
still
first
kind of a
series.
pretty low-scoring game.
Like there's a lot less kills, which might make it seem like less exciting for some people. Because obviously some people, all they want to see is like people like KOing each other back and forth. But
Finishing line here? Well, I don't know. We do have a Reggie Electric.
like you can tell just like by the way this game is going that although Grim Reapers have a lead, in terms of like relative skill level, it's a lot closer than Series 1.
But there's still a bit of time until that happens, and the push ability because of this Venusaur is pretty big. They're going to get the KO on the Umbreon. You're not coming out from the Crustle just to get a little bit more shielding. They already took so much damage, and this looks like this is going to be, as far as resources, great for Grim Reapers, taking down 2 more members of Gen 5. And finally, we are going to see Score really get on board. 230, that's a huge lead now over Gen 5, just about in time as well. You're not going to have any too many huge fights after this. Both goal zones are up, tier 1 goal zones. That's huge for Grim Reapers in the end as well. So they're definitely holding an advantageous position going into what could be the final stretch.
Oh, 100%. This is going to just stop the movement from Gen 5 not having those tier 1 pads available for that Hooper to teleport their members around. One thing, though, they have their Unite move come that final stretch, but for the moment, it's just holding on tight because we do have another base.
Inteleon missing his snipes.
Ooh, and there is actually a lot of priority being.
They've landed a couple, but a majority of them they are missing. They're not wrong.
Trying to take this. They are very, very close, but they are going to see so many members. They can.
They landed that one. Good poke on the Crustle.
Guitar is going to be very, very low. They're doing a lot of extra just damage.
This could be the Rayquaza fight. It's at 230. It's getting pretty close.
They're charging Wicked Blow. It wasn't enough. They let it go a little bit early, but the snipe shot is a great second chance for that secure, and that's something we're going to have to look at.
How's it going, Sun Wukong?
Final stretch. 2 amazing secure options on the side of Gen 5, so if it comes down to a flip, which so far we've seen flips happen because there's just a lot of accidental damage from the Petal Dance and just a lot of accidental damage in general. I mean, Zacian as well. Crustle can do a little bit of accidental damage, so we've got to really be careful. If that flip happens, Gen 5 is going to have a huge advantage of getting back any of this.
Well, 2 minutes is here. Final stretch. Rayquaza is on the board. We can see Grim Reapers taking.
It's gonna come down to a team fight or a flip, but the thing is that there's so many threats on the side of Grim Reapers that I don't know if Gen 5 have enough damage to deal with them all in like a single fight. Like you got level 13 Petal Dance Venusaur, you got a level 14 Darkrai, both priority targets. Zacian is a little underleveled, but they still do damage. It's Zacian.
Definitely the range advantage does go to Gen 5. They do have the ability for Lunder to just kind of snipe.
And of course they're playing from ahead.
Bits of damage in, but Katar is going to go in first and just get burned down. They've got to have on a chance to use their Unite. They do manage to get it. That's huge. Great resources now for the side of Grim Reapers. They might, actually, I thought they were going to maybe engage off of that, but instead they're just going to back up. I mean, they only did use 1 Unite. Not the worst thing in the world. No Unites used from Gen 5.
I'm a little surprised Umbreon, so like,
being able to back up, but
they didn't need to just because they had the Hoopa portal, but Hoopa didn't, or sorry, Umbreon didn't steal the Crustle Unite move shield.
Along with that pollen puff from Jean-Mi to go and heal him up. But the thing is Lundo just going to do
Oh, there's the Hoopa portal. It's time.
Chipping away, but once again, Rock Tomb to go and block out Snow, who is charging on up. But we do have that Rings Unbound.
Darkrai United the
taken
Hoop
down,
Unbound.
And now 3 members of Gen 5 have been wiped out. This is Grim Reaper's chance to go and take this Rayquaza, unless we have a steal from these 2 Water-type Pokemon.
Oh, this is so scary!
Oh, good
and
secure
Zach
possession.
is able to close it out. That was as scary as it gets. We had the Inteleon up there. The Gyarados was swimming below the ground with the Unite, getting ready. A great secure, though, from Grim Reapers, and that was looking very close at the end. I'm surprised they ended up doing so much damage to that Rayquaza, but again, we kind of have to. People are on top of it. A lot of accidental damage coming from the side of Grim Reapers in general. So really, really nice way to close that out. But in a game that was looking like it was pretty one-sided for them, it really got back to extremely close at the end.
Didn't think you're supposed to. You're not supposed to. I'm pretty sure they talked about this on the last major tournament that I watched. I'm pretty confident you're not supposed to be forfeiting on stream, just because it's kind of like the competitive integrity is like, you know, not there, or it takes away from the stream. I don't know. I do remember the broadcaster saying something like that though. I think I was watching the North America broadcast though. So I don't know if EU and NA have like different rules, but yeah. From what I heard, you're not supposed to be doing that. Just let it play out. It's like similar to, you know, when the broadcasters are casting a game, and even though as a spectator you know the game is 100% over. Let's say, for example, you're watching the last 2 minutes of a Pokemon Unite match. Rayquaza's already gone. The score is like 1,000 to like 70 points, alright? Even though as a viewer you know the game is over, the caster still needs to portray it in a way where like the game is still anybody's game. It's like, oh my god, despite the fact that you're down 970 points, you can still win. Like, that's their job. They need to make the game seem exciting, or they need to make it seem like entertaining for the audience. Similar to that, just, you know, different.
I mean, only a little bit of points ended up going in at the end. I guess just
Comeback
to go and
mechanics?
create a little bit more space up in that top path, but I guess you're giving up that.
We
Is it
haven't seen it for
pedal
a while.
dance?
Secure on the other side. It's just unfortunate that there were a few times where it just didn't really work out. And the one particular time they needed to work out, they didn't have, for example, the Urshifu there. But having the gear.
It's copium. Okay, so like the thing is, it's copium. You're not wrong. It is actually copium. It's just that it's their job. Like they are required to make it seem like no matter if you can see the outcome 20 minutes in advance, it's just the way it is.
Was there? It was a
Band. However, we do have Gen 5 sticking with that Hooper.
that we
Katana for it.
percent? No.
Okay, so I'm just fast forwarding the draft phase. Let me just
I think what
Ramran. Okay, first pick Hoopa. First pick on the first 2 picks on the orange team. Eldegoss, Zacian. Same picks as last game. They're all solid picks. No complaints. All rounded, they go for the Metagross pick. Metagross is actually a little underrated, in my opinion. That being said, the one thing about Metagross is that if you leave Umbreon available, you have you're not hard countered, but it makes it hard to play because, you know, you don't have that. If the Umbreon is doing their job properly, you'll never get that shield from your Unite move properly. It's similar to like when people play Blissey and then someone counterpicks with Umbreon. It's not like you can't play Blissey if there's an Umbreon on the enemy team. It's just that you need to be very mindful of when you unite or how you unite if the enemy team is picking something that is like a relatively decent counter to you. Mewtwo. So yeah, it was Metagross and Mewtwo. At this point in the draft, you don't necessarily know if it's like a carry Mewtwo or support Mewtwo, because obviously people have been using XP share Mewtwo in general. Grim Reapers pick Umbreon and Darkrai. So obviously Umbreon, solid choice overall. Good response to Metagross, and it's just a safe pick. Not to mention, it can also function as a pseudo support with Wish if you choose to go with that, you know, moveset. Darkrai. Darkrai is like a risky pick. Like it's still solid in some situations. I think Darkrai is more niche now than anything else. Like obviously when Darkrai was really strong, it was very oppressive because of the amount of damage and CC that it had. But now that the damage is nerfed, it still has damage, but it's more like CC and it requires a little bit of follow-up. Leafeon and Decidueye kind of round out the team from the side of Gen 5. Then you got Cramorant on the side of Grim Reapers. Cramorant is something I would not have expected to see, if I'm being completely honest. I think Cramorant is kind of underwhelming in a lot of different aspects. On the side of Gen 5, let me just see the items finalized. Hold on.
What can you say?
Oh,
Okay, so it is support Mewtwo. Sorry, I'm just fast forwarding to see what the builds are. Okay, so you got support Mewtwo and support Hoopa. Then you got, I'm assuming, well, we don't know if they're going to do the full clear, if they're going to do part clear or roll swap, but yeah, it's still up in there whether Utah or Snow is jungling at this point in time. I think the only real issue that I have on the side of Grim Reapers, if I'm being completely honest, is the Cramorant pick. Just because, like, it's very easy to, well, at least with the picks that Gen 5 have drafted so far, it's going to be very difficult for Cramorant to get, like, the maximum amount of damage output that you would like against these picks. Like, you got long range Decidueye, you got high mobility picks like Mewtwo with double teleport, and then of course I'm assuming they're gonna go Psy Strike as well. Leafeon, it's hit or miss.
Dive, or because you really want a lot of space control with the Unite, or both, obviously. And I do feel like maybe a lot of the goal here is going to be extremely annoying. Try to be annoying against.
Cramorant is good.
That's my
If
best
used
guess.
properly, it can be good.
It's
It's
a
just
strange pick. There are a lot of really strong attackers
We'll see.
that you can play in that role. The Espeon's still great, Inteleon, Miraidon. There's so many different options. I don't know for sure. I love to see it, but I mean, I really hope I'm pleasantly surprised.
look, as I said, there has been a secret patch that we just have not been informed about.
Yeah.
So, hey, I love it. It's surprises all round for us. So, you know, what a gift. But Decidueye, Cramorant, what on earth is going on in the here region today? I'm so confused.
These are two of my favorite Pokemon.
Cram!
I know. I had to take a look at actually what the items were because it is actually neat to see the new items on Cramorant because I haven't seen Cramorant since they released, but we'll see that damage stacking as we're going into game number 2. Grim Reapers, a newer team, 1 game away from qualifying for Worlds in Anaheim. They've just got to win this one, and who else can say they qualified for Worlds with Cramorant? That would certainly be a first. Sixties, of course, amazing player for a long time. I'm excited to see even what build they go, because honestly, there's so many different things you could do.
Look, considering they do have that Decidueye and a Leafeon on their side, I'm guessing a dive composition here, just to get that extra maneuverability, get into the backline, but also dodge the moves from Leafeon. But I guess, you know what, we've seen so many surprises here, I could completely be wrong here.
Yeah, I mean, there were so many surprises that we honestly didn't get to talk about some of the picks that were in the draft. Like Leafeon is a speedster that we've been seeing a little bit less, but its extra range is really, really nice, and it's still extremely strong. It definitely hasn't been weak. There have just been some really, really strong speedsters alongside it. We didn't get a chance to talk about why the Mewtwo Y was picked exactly, which is another thing that's a little
oh, they lost the big one.
eventually. But on the other side, we did.
The Beldum actually secured the big Altaria, so they got the level up off that.
Well, it did in that last game. Another Pokemon that we see not that often anymore, despite the fact that it was super strong when it first
The
came out.
Rowlet also got the big one there too, so they get the level up.
Their icon there, so they've got a rocket. However, in terms of this Mewtwo Y, we do have an experience share.
Yes.
Lunda, so they are that supportive Mewtwo Y, but that's because I'm saying it might be Psy Strike here, because that's the usual comp, but it's just for that extra damage over time, but it's also the big stun that you end up getting at the end, and especially considering Grim Reapers, while they were running that snowball comp together. When you're grouped together, you could actually...
The early game is not going
use
great for Grim
members.
Reapers right now.
That's true, yeah.
Considering 4
Especially
people are
if
top
that
at one
last
point,
comp is
and
active,
top lane is
more
already
split up, but there's still going to be a lot of grouping up
almost
here.
2 levels
Right now,
down.
as they're fighting
There's a
for the
problem
XP.
there.
At this
Rowlet.
mark,
Oh, sorry.
we're
Dartrix
gonna
goes
go to a
down.
top fight and a bottom fight, and it doesn't seem like we're going to be getting any real KOs. Everybody just kind of testing the waters, nobody wanting to fully commit, and that's something that we saw from these teams last game as well, where they really don't want to overcommit to anything. We didn't see anybody take a lead, or even we didn't see any points scored until like the 6-minute mark, which already.
Okay, they got level
that's
7 lane Decidueye now, which is actually
It
pretty
is
huge.
4 points
Because
to
that's
the
real.
game.
That's pretty much like
So
the
quite a lot
main
of
power
energy.
spike of
It's still
Decidueye.
early days. You've just gotta
Getting your
build
Spear
up
Shackles
all of
online.
Those pockets with your Aeos energy from this wild Pokemon. The birds have spawned again. It is going to be a 3v3 up in that top half, and ooh, Metang ends up getting taken down.
Oh no!
With the
Oh,
Leaf
those are
Advantage,
two
it's
very
here.
big and juicy
That's
kills on the side of
big,
Grim
yeah,
Reapers.
Sidro has to get away. Well, I was going to say get away, and then immediately just went back in, allowed the 3 KO, and that's huge. With the addition of the new items, you know, like Drive Lens and such, there's so much more value to a lot of these early KOs. I mean, especially if you're in this group and you're going to get a KO with a bunch of assists, that's just something that just builds up so much more.
Oh, good secure from Decidueye, but Darkrai's down in the bottom lane now.
Several months ago is really all that it is. We're going to see a pretty clean, easy take from Gen 5 on that basement Regice as we're watching that fight up top. But yeah, those triple KOs with everybody up there, that's going to be huge for stacking for Grim Reapers.
Oh, 100%. It has got Darkrai over to that level 9. But one thing I also noticed, this is a Trick Hooper this time around rather than that Hyperspace Hole. So just to go and help this Leafeon speed on up towards them. And they're going to go on in, take out 2 members, and potentially go and dunk some points in this top tier 1 pad.
Oh, no, the Unite came out from the Cramorant, but it really wasn't going to get anything. They did manage to get out of there, but unfortunately, it was a little bit of a waste, and that goal zone will go down. So this time, Gen 5 taking the early lead. Trick Hoopa, I really like that call. There's some great auto attackers, and Trick is so good with auto attackers. But you can throw it on the Mewtwo, you can throw it on the Decidueye, which I assume is going to be sniping, but I actually haven't seen it attack yet. It's been kind of farming.
It was looking good for Grim Reapers for a little while, but then
That's not right. That's not a word. Is it the move?
Yeah.
I'm blanking.
the fact that they lost both objectives, like they've fallen behind already.
We'll wait and see, but wait, we have a knock coming in.
Now they have to try to defend this tier 2, and they're not in a position to do so.
Down. Megu with those shields, though, is just tanking so much damage, using that compute and crush to go and get a 2 KO streak. Regieleki walks on through. Tier 2 has been obliterated.
Yeah, that's so
Yeah,
different.
I like this. This is looking very, very.
KO streak for Metagross this time. Megu is going to be now building up potentially stacks for their teammates. I can't remember exactly if they were holding it or not. But yeah, it is Spirit Shackle. It's not going to be.
It's like, I think the issue, like, this is an issue that I have with competitive gameplay. Something like this.
As we're watching that fight.
So,
Watching the game, like, KOs. I mean, especially if you're in this group. With the addition of
okay,
new
this is
items-
my issue right here. Okay? They won top lane, definitively. Like, you got a triple kill, everyone's dead, you're stealing away the farm, you scored your points, things are looking really well. My issue is that these guys end up rotating down to the bottom lane to kind of, like, they're not being proactive. Like, to me, like, I know that people don't want to break the goal. Like, I understand the argument. You don't want to break the goal because when you're ahead, you don't want to give these guys experience when you're ahead. Like, that part makes sense. But the thing is like, at the very least, clear the objective and just don't break the goal. Just take it off the map. Because the problem is now, these guys try to rotate all, like, from the top lane all the way to the bottom lane, and not only do they not get the objective, but it's like they wasted their time doing nothing. And then now, you have, what do you call it? Gen 5. Oops. Sorry, I just, sorry, my script is bugging out today. I don't know why. Okay, so like you have Gen 5, like they rotate from, you know, here, they go all the way down bottom, and then eventually they end up going top lane again, only to like play defense. But you wouldn't need to play defense here if you just take this off the map. And if you're like, if you don't want to break the goal, that's perfectly fine. But at least, you know, let the Regieleki get, like, take the Regieleki, you let it crash, and you're still gonna be 18 out of 80. You don't have to worry about the goal being broken if you want to deny the experience, and you don't have to worry about the Regieleki. But now, because you didn't take it, because you decided to rotate bottom for like a non-productive play, you allow these guys to get the well, you didn't allow them. It's just more so you prioritize top lane. So you prioritize top lane, you give up bottom, which is fine. You're still going to be ahead. But then the problem is, you let these guys take the top Reggie themselves, they break the top tier 1, and then they pressure the top tier 2 with the Regieleki, the objective that you should have gotten to begin with. So now you're in a situation where you had a solid lead, you had the levels, you had the positioning, and then one macro misplay causes you to literally fall behind in the game. Like, the game is not over, but you fall behind.
Drive lens.
So now playing it from here, just kind of like skimming through it, fast forwarding it. Two of them decide to rotate. Zacian's farming. They lose the bottom objective.
Is really all that it is. We're gonna see a for Grim Reapers.
Now they rotate top lane.
Gen 5 on that basement Reggie.
9, but one thing I also noticed
Well,
this is a trick
competing for middle, then they rotate top lane.
Hyperspace hold some points in this top and help this Leafeon speed on.
And then now,
towards
for
them.
whatever
And
reason,
they're
they choose to
gonna
team
go
fight
for
now, and
taking out two
then
members and potentially
yeah, they
rolling
just
down
die.
some points in this top T1 pad.
And then Cramorant Unite move, like Cramorant decides to Unite move at literally like 1 HP, you know, like 10% HP on one person, and they can't even stay in their Unite move because they are literally going to die. So they use their Unite move to try to defend, but they cancel it earlier than they need to because otherwise they just die.
Oh no, the Unite came out from the Cramorant, but it really wasn't gonna get anything. They did manage to
So
get
it's
out
like
there, but
macro misplay, individual misplay, and then you get severely punished by a team of relatively equal skill.
a little bit of a waste, and that goes
Like, in
over
terms of
to
skill, I
the
think these
Browns,
teams are relatively
taking
even.
the early
But
lead. Trick Hoopa,
when it's a close game overall, and then you get
Trick is so good with auto attackers.
like whether you misplay or you get outplayed, whatever, it's like
which I assume is,
you notice these things. Like in comparison to the Series 1, the games were very slow. Like Series 1, it was just one-sided stomp, Nouns Esports, getting kills, getting a lead, and then snowballing the game. This series, in comparison or in contrast, it's slower because not as many kills are happening or KOs, but when they do happen, you notice the advantage swinging like a pendulum back and forth, whether it be for one team or the other team or both teams. It's like when something happens, you notice.
Going to be sniping, but I actually haven't seen it attack yet. It's been kind of farming on its own, but that would be hilarious if it was Razor Leaf. That's not right. That's not a word. Is it the move?
Yeah.
I'm blanking. Yeah, Razor Leaf. Why did I felt like that sounded wrong in my head.
Well, I guess we'll wait and see. But wait, we have a knock.
And then we already saw this, but I'll just keep it playing from here. Obviously, the Regieleki that they didn't take. And of course, like, Umbreon's popping their Unite move here to try to, like, hold the line. But the thing is, because he united as Umbreon before Metagross united, that allows Metagross to just continue forcing, like, brute forcing this push because you don't have to worry about the Umbreon Unite anymore. So Umbreon Unite first, they got a little bit of a shield, but then, oh, here comes Metagross. There's the Unite move, and then bam.
And Crush to go and get a 2 KO streak. Regieleki walks on through. Tier 2 has been obliterated.
Wow. Yeah, that's so different from last game. I mean, this is a lot of relatively early aggression. Triple KO streak for Metagross this time. Megu is going to be now building up potentially stacks for their teammates. I can't remember exactly if they were holding it or not. But yeah, it is Spirit Shackle. It's not going to be Razor Leaf. As fun as that would have been.
Like, obviously,
a throw. Let's be 100% honest.
it's strictly hypothetical, but I wonder what would have happened if they took the Regieleki. Like, how this game could have been so different.
Super early, but pretty clean early rotation from Grim Reapers down to this Registeel. Doesn't look like there's going to be too much of an opportunity for everybody to come down. They do use the Unite for the Hoopa. Everybody's come in, but they're a little bit too late. Buff already taken from the side of Grim Reapers, and they are going to try to fight over this, which is surprising after you just lost the buff. It doesn't seem like they're going to get too much mileage on the side of Gen 5. They are going to back up. Yeah, everybody returned back to base. I like the surprise attempt, but that was just such a clean early rotation from the Grim Reapers.
Yeah, Gen 5 already used so many resources there, so it's just a matter of gathering up all these wild Pokemon again, get the Unite moves on hand, but it's 199 to 122. When we're looking at the levels, it's pretty much on parity. We have 2 level 11s on the side of Grim Reapers, but one thing that is sticking out like a sore thumb is this Metagross. It is soon to hit that level 13 mark, and that is going to be one taking boy to take down.
Yes, it's going to be very, very difficult, especially too, you don't really have like exactly that much damage on the side of Grim Reapers. It's not like it's a low damage team by any means, but it's no team that can just burn down something that's tanky. It's kind of in that middle ground, and you can see it right there. We're actually seeing Metagross just walk away slightly. They managed to get the KO on Zacian, but Lunder will go down now in return. This goal zone most likely going down. Doesn't seem like they have too much great of a defense. Using the knock-knock, he's going to be able to at least do something, but unfortunately they can be quite easily body blocked. And oh my goodness, body blocked if anybody's there. You need a teammate to body block, and unfortunately the Cramorant was just a little bit out in the open.
I feel like this is just a replay.
Like, I'll tell you this right now, like, this Cramorant pick, I don't know what it's doing for the team, or like, overall, if I'm being honest.
Most likely going down. Doesn't seem like they have too much great of a defense. Using the knock-knock, he's going to be able to at least do something, but unfortunately they can be quite easily body blocked. And oh my goodness, body blocked if anybody's there. You need a teammate to body block, and unfortunately the Cramorant was just a little bit out in the open.
I feel like this is just a replay.
Okay, ads are gonna play very shortly, so I'll just pause it here. I can't control these ones, so yeah, ads are gonna play. I'll pause it right here. I won't go any further. That way, you know, you guys don't miss out too much on the yapping. Let me see here really quickly. I need to look at my email really quickly. In the meantime, but obviously I'm not gonna look at that on stream, so I'll hide it very quickly. So hopefully you guys are having a good weekend so far. We have, I know there was a Japanese, or not Japanese, Asian tournament going on yesterday. Okay. Check my email. We're good.
Of those Unite tutorials where you just see Cramorant getting bullied over and
Yep,
over
yep.
again with all of the different moves. But yeah, that final arrow to finish off the bird. But I mean, still 199 to 122, quite a close match. Gen 5 have decided to rotate down bottom, but they've already lost their Leafeon.
Ooh, but that's going to be a really nice set of picks. Okay, now we're starting to see the
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know what happened here. Like this right
Over
here.
again with all of
Oh, actually, okay. So here's the thing. Zacian has to defend the top lane Regieleki from pressuring the home goal, which makes sense. Obviously, you don't want that going in.
different moves, but yeah, that final
The
arrow
problem
to
is
finish off
Eldegoss
the
got
bird.
caught
I
out,
mean, still 199 to 122, quite
and the
a
rest of the
close
team is
match.
trying to
Gen 5
fight,
have decided to rotate
but
down.
it is literally a 2 versus 4 in this case. Like, Eldegoss already got killed by the Leafeon. Darkrai killed the Leafeon, but at that point, it was a 3 versus 5. Now it's a 2 versus 4. You can see Umbreon racing from the base to try to get here in time to defend. Zacian's top lane, you already have the map vision of them standing top lane defending against Regieleki. So no matter what, best case scenario for them, it's a 4v3. Worst case, which it is, well, it could be worse. It could be a 4 versus 1. But yeah, 4 versus 2, like, you're not defending this. You're not holding this.
But they've already lost their Leafeon.
Ooh, but
So
that's
not
gonna
only
be
do
a
you give up
really
the
nice set of
experience from the
picks. Okay,
kills,
now we're starting to
you let them score and break the pad, and then now it went
But
from...
they've already lost their
How many
Leafeon.
points did they score?
Ooh, but that's going to be a really nice set of picks. Okay, now we're starting to see the
Ooh.
Decidueye.
they scored 86 points.
Really popping off. They were able to, I mean, they really made me eat my words. I was like, yeah, probably we're going to see that tier 1 goal zone go down up top in the northwest, but completely defended it solo, got 2 KOs to be able to take down another tier 1 goal zone once they went down south, and now this lead really starting to build. 163-point lead for the side of Gen 5. Trying to tie things up here. Again, this is a Worlds qualifying game, so they need to win 2 straight for it to happen. No attempt for a steal. Gen 5 will be taking that final Regirock buff before the final stretch.
Yeah, 20 seconds left to go, get these buffs underhand, but the thing is, we can see both of them haven't actually taken that positioning in that Ray pit just yet. But as we go into our wide view here, oh, we do have that trick Phantom Force taking that.
The problem that I have here is, like, before we get into, like, the last 2 minutes of the game, first of all, they have, like, a team fight oriented comp. Like, they basically built for team fighting with this Darkrai, Zacian, and Cramorant pick. Of course, you have Umbreon and Eldegoss as well. The problem is that any sensible, well, I don't want to, like, I won't even say sensible. Any, like, semi-competent team playing with an advantage that Gen 5 have in this specific situation is, like, unless they start flipping, you don't need to fight. Especially when you have something like a Decidueye that is over-leveled at this point of the game. They can literally just stand like 100 yards back and just keep on chipping away at your team while you try to figure out how you can engage on the enemy team. Like, on the side of Grim Reapers, there's no way they're going to back-cap an amount to kind of compensate from this deficit that they're in. Like, they are literally down 163 points. Even if Darkrai scores the top lane, which they're in a position to do so if they want to, that even if they score the full 100, you're still down 63 points. So it's going to eventually result in you guys having to team fight or flip or whatever fancy feet maneuvering you got to do to try to get a pick. The problem with Cramorant, in general, besides the fact that it's kind of under-leveled right now, it's only level 12, most of your damage is kind of coming from your Unite move, and hoping that the enemy team is in a position where they're all clumped together, so that when the Cramorant uses their Unite, it will bounce between teammates. Besides that, like, yeah, you have Dive, but realistically, between the Hoopa, as well as just most of the enemy team not going to be in range of your dive skill to begin with, it's going to be so hard for them to get their damage off consistently, which I think lies the problem. But we'll see how this plays out.
Metagross back to the tall grass there.
Get back here. And I like this. You can see up top there's an attempt to score from Darkrai that's actually being shut down completely by Decidueye. And they're going to be fighting in the middle, so it's going to be kind of a 4v4. The Unite's coming out, though, from the Hoopa that's going to be able to pull everybody else in. We are going to see an extremely low, oh my god, team.
Yeah, they full-on tried to brute force that, and it did not go.
Team wipe. I didn't realize they were going down that fast. This Gen 5 clearing this one
Like,
out.
Darkrai wasn't even there either. And I think that was their most fed member of their team. So, yeah, like, let me play this back. It happened so quickly that I didn't even get to see it.
See up top, there's an attempt to score from Darkrai that's actually being shut down completely by Decidueye.
So they went Dive Hurricane. Cramorant pops their Unite move immediately as soon as they dive forward.
They're going to be fighting in the middle, so it's going to be kind of
Like, they're doing no damage on top of the fact that you can see their HP bar right in the center. Obviously, for whatever reason, if you can't, this is the Cramorant right here. Like, they just got absolutely melted. They're doing negative damage. Their Unite move is basically healing everyone at this point. The most fed member of their team, Darkrai, is top lane, and they are so damn low to begin with. They saw their Unite move, so I'm not like, it's hard to say what's going on up here because I can't see because the camera's not panned over there. But I imagine they got hit by the Mewtwo Unite move and got stunned, took some damage, and then maybe they're trying to get on top of Decidueye with their Unite move. Maybe, but like, it's all speculation. I can't.
44.
confirm what
Nice coming
happened.
out though from the Hoopa that's gonna be able to pull everybody else in. We are gonna see an extremely low. Oh my God!
And Dark
Team
Ride died
Grim
without
Reapers,
even
they just
uniting.
melted. Actually, completely went down. Full team.
Then all 5 of
I
them
didn't
die.
realize they were going down that fast. This Gen 5 clearing this one out free. Rayquaza for them, and certainly they'll be running away with this.
I just blinked and missed everything.
Me
That
too.
just happened so quick. When did Grim Reaper... They just got a taste of their own medicine there, I feel like. I mean, they're the ones that are supposed to put all of these opponents to sleep, KO them, but I mean, they're the ones that ended up getting KO'd. But now it's 703 to 122 points with 1 minute and 10 seconds left to go. They don't want any more members to go get taken down, as Cram has still been knocked out. Hooper has been knocked out for 25 seconds here, so it's just a matter of, well, collaborating, but it's still over 500 points that they need to try.
I mean, I don't need to watch the rest of this. I already know this is over.
Enough money
The caster copy, I'm trying to play it off as in like, oh, it's gonna be,
Take a look at
it could be
again.
close. Yeah, not really.
I think we're actually making sure that no isn't as impactful as a Snorlax would be. So whether we're going to see another Snorlax ban coming out from...
Okay, so we got game number 3. Grim Reapers swapped sides, so now their first pick. Gen 5 swapped to the orange side, so they get 2 picks in their rotation. Hoopa ban first, Suicune ban, Psyduck ban, and then we got a potential Snorlax ban.
So that does mean that the Alolan Raichu, assuming that this Snorlax is locked in, Alolan Raichu...
Yep, it is a Snorlax ban. Honestly, I don't know why people are banning Snorlax over here in EU.
I think it's great. I think that these teams, they've been banning it so
Maybe
much,
it's the laning,
you're gonna pick it.
maybe it's the engage, or just the meaty front line,
well,
but
it makes sense. You called it. If it's not banned,
I am a little surprised about how often it's been banned so far.
Considering
First pick Raichu, followed by Zacian and Blissey.
Blissey pick, so that 100% encounter rate.
I
that
would
we
expect
actually
an
saw at the
Umbreon
beginning
pick,
of broadcast
but who
has
knows?
obviously dropped, but not getting selected or banned the past 2 rounds. But I guess, you know, Gen 5 just need a little bit of eggs this time around. A little bit of protein.
Yes, Umbreon pick did. Okay, so Umbreon did go through.
I think all those things
Eldegoss and Umbreon.
So hopefully there can be a Blissey to help support.
The good thing about this on the side of Grim Reapers is the fact that, like, you pick your support and you pick the Umbreon. Umbreon doesn't reveal too much about your team composition. Like, it's obviously a solid pick and a good response to Blissey. Eldegoss, you're picking your support, so you don't reveal too much about your core team composition. When I say core, I mean the Pokemon that are going to be doing the quote-unquote carrying on the side of your team. Raichu, of course, just still strong pick overall.
But yeah, I'm surprised that we haven't seen the Blissey more.
But personally, like,
Extremely strong.
although I recognize Raichu as an objectively strong pick,
has been seen a lot as well.
I haven't seen it
I'm
do
just surprised
so
that we haven't
well
seen
in
Eldegoss, but it's probably more
these
of a
matches so
comfort on
far.
the side of Grim Reapers, and both lineups looking quite strong. I'm surprised we're going to see the Decidueye.
Metagross got picked up on the side of Gen 5,
There's a lot of confidence that they're going to be able to deal with
as
it,
well as the
but it's
Decidueye.
within these picks from the side of Grim Reapers.
I think we're about to have a snipe off here. Lundaroo Decidueye going up into 60s in Teleon. This will definitely be a battle, but wait, no, 60s is going to switch it up
Ooh,
and actually
Zera.
pick up Zera Aura. So another speedster for them to try and dive into the backline, especially with a Volt switch, maybe to try and get those isolations, but once again, we do have Snow locking in that Leafeon, and I think this is a great way to balance the late scalers of Metagross and Decidueye, because we know how impactful a Leafeon can be, especially if it goes in that central area.
And we will see Klaus and 60s switch up who they're playing. So 60s is going to be going their kind of range attacker is more as classic. Klaus will be the one that's on the big cat, and that's
Okay, we can
still a
fast forward
strong
here.
pick. I mean, we
Um,
saw a lot of
realistically, I don't know how I feel. Like, I do think Zera, like, for solo queue, Zera I think is really strong. For competitive gameplay, Zera may potentially struggle. Obviously, I think Zera's biggest enemy is just coordination, which is something you don't see a lot of in solo queue, which makes it easier to play, but, you know, competitive is a different environment completely. I still think Zera is good, but still takes a little while for it to come online. I don't think its level 5 is that great. I think it's going to be very unlikely for them to pick up any like early kills. But we'll see. And then of course you have Umbreon for the Metagross and Blissey, but at the same time, you only have one Unite move, but there's two of them, so it's gonna be hard to play around them both, ideally.
Zera Aura for that little bit of time. I qualify with Cramorant, but maybe Cramorant a little bit less viable than XP Share Decidueye. We'll see. And again, the big story here is going to be how quickly are we going to see this Gyarados evolve and how well we can see it shut down from the side of Gen 5. But so far, it's looking pretty slow as the other two games have been. So no big KOs. We haven't even seen that much scoring, but there's actually an opportunity to score here potentially from that Magikarp. I know we're not looking at it, but an attempt.
Oh, I don't even know how this happened.
The other quickly are we going to see this Gyarados Cramorant, but maybe.
So what, Zera went for a one-man invade?
So far, it's looking pretty slow as the other two games have been. So no big KOs. We haven't even seen that much scoring, but there's actually an opportunity to score here potentially from that Magikarp.
Zera went for a one-man invade and they got punished for it. Oh my god. That's terrible.
Yeah, this is actually huge.
Not only that, but like they're dead for the Altaria camp.
Go and help Zero out, hoping to get them to evolve, especially going into a Gossifleur and a Magikarp. Well, they can't really do much on their own, but we do have Klaus back up into the mix. They are going to quickly Volt Switch out, not being able to pick up any KOs.
Yeah, Megu barely getting out of there, but nice little bit of experience.
That is a big problem for
really.
Grim Reapers, though.
Good about that. We already got their first level 6, and they stopped the invasion.
Jungler dying to the top lane, especially Zacian, of like all things on their team.
For the moment, very low,
just makes it that much harder for Magikarp to lane, like stay even in that lane.
Slow. They do have to wait for two of their Pokemon to evolve to their final stages. They've got some time, and if they don't risk anything as well, the Magikarp is going to take longer and longer to evolve, which is exactly what just happened right now. Again, 8-minute mark.
Yeah, Caster's turn. So as soon as you say evolve, it ends up evolving in there. But we do have those birds going majority to the side of Gen 5. One thing I noticed though, they still have a Rowlet on that map. It hasn't yet evolved into that first stage.
That's weird. Clearly they just haven't found one thing to hit. They're kind of gatekept at that experience level. There we go. Again, as we say it, it happens. But still sitting down there at level 5, which is the same level as the experience share. Oh wait, it is the experience share Pokemon.
Yeah.
I forgot. Oh my god. You're ruining
it.
my casting Gen 5. I don't understand what's going on anymore.
We're just not used to it. It's okay. But we do have another set of birds spawn on up. Klaus isn't going to really do a lot of damage there. It's just a matter of getting that experience, hoping to tick on over, get ever so closer to those Unite moves. But even then, this is actually really interesting. I was going to say, no Unite moves on hand, but wait, Leafeon gets a Unite move at level 8.
Yep, the days of all of the early Unites, because we just saw evolutions forever, a little bit far gone, but still, it's going to be very important right here. Registeel going to be challenged. We're not going to have a fully evolved Decidueye yet, so their Secure is not going to be as strong. Wait, okay, immediately it evolved under the Pip and it got the Secure. Oh my god, what is going on with this game for me? It was like literally hiding below the Pip in the top right side as it evolved. Anyway, I'm not going to talk anymore, so you can keep going.
I think it's the curse of the experience shared Decidueye. It's just thrown our brains way off here. Otherwise, we do have Galaxy charging on up their bounce, hoping to dive onto Megu. They don't actually end up landing on them, getting caught out in this Sacred Sword, chipped away to a quarter HP. And that means they're going to have to back on up and give a lot of space for Gen 5 to try and secure this Regieleki, unless they can get a steal, but no. It ends up being Megu. Megu has secured so many objectives these past couple of matches.
Zacian in general has been doing a really good job of being a secure Pokemon, when we see a lot less of the true secure Pokemon. I mean, even still, it does so well, and especially in those Ray fights where you're going to be hitting a bunch of people as well. Oh, just going in, no defense from the side of Grim Reapers.
Oh, but we do have some math going on in. You got to try and maximize that overcap potential, and what perfect way. But I mean, we're almost at that halfway mark. I was about to say it's 0 to 113. Once again, the curse is coming on through, but does look like Grim Reapers have managed to get in 19 points down in that bottom half.
The evolution underneath, that may have been the ultimate caster curse moment I've ever seen in my entire life. That's wild. I need somebody to clip that for me. But right now, again, every team just kind of backing up, playing slow. We're at the 5-minute mark, relatively low points. Well, overall, I would say, you know, especially from Grim Reapers, unfortunately for them, they just haven't been able to find all that much. Been popping off a little bit slow. 6Es, we get a chance to watch on this Alolan Raichu that we just really haven't been able to see that much because it's been banned a lot. However, it hasn't had a huge impact. Still stuck here at level 9, so we're going to see...
This could be a moment for Grim Reapers to get back into the game.
11s.
It's a 5 versus 4. If they see Leafeon there, like, there's no hoop on the side of Gen 5. Grim Reapers need to play aggressive here. Like, this is like their chance. They have time, but the longer they wait, the worse it is for them.
Ends up getting chipped away, and there goes the knock-knock.
Oh, the knock-knock's doing so much damage, and it does.
Oh
look like
my
Gen 5
god, and it went horribly, horribly wrong.
Secure on that Regirock, but I mean the knock-knock on the rock, it was able to do just so much extra damage. So many people trying to.
Yeah, like here is just like very questionable. So like obviously as a viewer, oh man, like you have to make a play here. You just need to commit to the play. Like the moment you see Leafeon scoring in the top lane, you know that it's a 5v4. You know you have your 5 here. Best case scenario for them, there's 4 here. If you're lucky, then maybe there's less, depending on like who you see and who you don't see. The problem is, like, it looks like they were very split focus here, because it looked like some of them wanted to do the objective, like right here, like obviously 1, 2, and then yeah, like these guys are doing the objective. And then these guys over here, like he's zoning, he's trying to create that like barrier on the rest of his team. Gyarados is over here, already popped their Unite move. Zera's right here, kind of lurking in the bush, trying to find an opportunity to make a play. But they're split. Like 2 of them are fighting, 1 of them is zoning, I guess, and the other 2 are trying to rip the objective. And yeah, Raichu has damage, but they don't have enough damage to rip it in a very speedy like fashion. So now like they have enough time to kind of respond to whatever this is, and then eventually they just kind of roll over the entire team collectively. It just like they were a little bit more cleaner with their execution, I guess. And considering it was a fight, like considering it's a 5 versus 4, it could be a whole lot worse if Leafeon was already there to begin with.
Klaus ends up getting chipped away, and there goes the knock-knock.
Oh, the knock-knock's doing so much damage, and it does look like Gen 5, whoever it was, of course, it was Blissey getting the secure on that Regirock, but, I mean, the knock-knock, it was able to do just so much extra damage, so many people trying to body block it, but...
Also, Umbreon not having their Unite move for the Blissey was such a huge...
Oh no, they didn't end up getting the...
Like, it was that's very unfortunate. I think they just got it back when they died.
That bottom tier 1 pad is
And, like, if you're picking Umbreon against the Blissey, you need to have that Unite move ready
securing wild Pokemon once again
to, like, proactively respond to it.
That Regieleki up in that top half.
Otherwise, you just have a giant Blissey shield on whoever the carry is.
I mean, a match to qualify for Worlds. So I was just talking about this earlier. This is the ultimate prize for the main season of UCS, is the chance to be one of the best teams in the world and showing it. So the fact that they were down a game, Gen 5, and now they won a game in return, and now they're up by 250 points almost, is huge. They're showing their mental fortitude. Not to say this is over yet, but it's still very impressive to see. Klaus trying to get a little bit of damage on that Blissey, wasn't able to get the pull back. I think that maybe an attempt there, but they're going to be doing damage down below. We're going to see the Unite coming out from the Metagross, backing up over towards this tier 2 goal zone. 6Es is going to do enough damage to be able to at least make Gen 5 back up.
Yeah, they're going to have to back on up there as they're going to go and shred down this Regieleki. This is just going to provide some time for Grim Reapers to recalibrate themselves, considering they are quite far behind in points, but Utah just being a nuisance towards Qatar and Galaxy in this bottom half.
Ooh, yeah, this is really good as well. This Regieleki, because there's no Hoopa on the map, there's not going to be an ability to rotate super far down very quickly. So we are probably going to see Gen 5 be able to take this basement Regi pretty free. We can already see 3 members defending up top. We actually see Zacian kind of getting some vision up there as well to see when the rotate down is going to happen. And they do now see that a few members are going to be rotating down. There might be an attempt to get a little bit of an ambush up there or back cap, but in the meantime, they've got so much damage just from these two grass types alone, that they're going to be able to take that last basement Reggie buff as we go into the final stretch.
2 minutes and 15 seconds left until we find out who is going to qualify for Worlds after this match. But we can see that 3 members from Gen 5, they're going to group together as Lunda ends up missing their snipe.
That's crazy because if I'm not I'm not 100% sure because I don't remember the the prize distribution, I guess. So in terms of championship points, Grim Reapers cannot qualify through there just because they're like a new team. If I'm not mistaken, the CP rank refers to your positioning in the leaderboard based on your actual points. So what? I guess they're 128 in the
Spirit
region.
Shackle, wrong one. Towards
So because they can't really qualify through championship points just because they're really they're a new team, they needed to win this game, I believe, to have the shot or even qualify after this match. Nouns already qualified. Like they were going to Worlds regardless, if I'm not mistaken. So like the other spots were up for grabs.
Qatar, and they ended up missing another one, so not able to find that vision, but Qatar ends up exposing themselves there.
Yeah, that was an inch away. I mean, it was a good call, right? They guessed correctly. It's just there's not one angle that you can hit that entire tall grass. So smart choice, just unfortunately did not get exactly. And now, again, this entire center area being held pretty aggressively by Gen 5. They've got the snipes, they've got the vision. Oh my goodness, they've got the spirit shackles, which I'm going to call snipe shot a million times as well today. And the ability to see where people are hiding because of that shadow sneak is so good. It's weird. I haven't seen Sidra for so long. I have to remember all the move names, but it's great to see it. And look at that. Once again, you just got to see where the closest enemies are. There might be an attempt to backcap up top, or maybe they're going to try to get a rotate around for this aggressive push.
Oh, but look at this. We do have Jean-Mi and Gyarados hunting down that Decidueye, popping that knock-knock, which means they're stuck in place. Metagross ends up popping the Unite move, not able to build a wall, but they're going to charge towards 60s. It's 2 down on either side now.
Oh, the Unite's coming out from the Gyarados, run on top of everybody. That's going to only land on 2, but it's still 2 great targets. Yutao, though, is going to be undestroyable.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
the only remaining member
The
for
player have
Gen
actually
5.
connected from that side of the wall.
Down now. They're going to be down for 23 seconds when they're back
Oh, this
up.
is free.
There's only going to be 20
Over.
seconds left. I'm not sure if they're going to burn down this Rayquaza. They don't have that much damage, or maybe they do have more damage than I thought. Just, I think, on that. Only that.
They don't even need a Rayquaza. At this point in the game, like, they could have left it and there wouldn't have been enough time.
Of the Decidueye, and that is a secure. That is certainly going to be a win. 22 seconds left. They're almost not going to be in time to get these scores in, but they will. They would have won regardless. Gen 5, after losing game number 1, making it back 2 games straight for a dominant victory in game number 3, and I would say well earning their spot at Worlds 2025.
This has been a common story throughout the season for Gen 5. Getting multiple round 3s throughout the season, losing that first one and then taking it to the following 2 after that. But yeah, as you mentioned, they are going to be our next qualified team to Worlds alongside Nouns.
You know, I feel like if we talked about this at any point in the season, that would
That in
be
itself
our
is dumb.
expected.
Regardless of that, regardless of how they performed in this specific situation, guys, if you're a competitive team playing in Pokemon Unite, that is the goal. Besides winning, if you're not going to Worlds, you guys already know how I feel about this. It's not worth it. You play, you progressively improve. Unless you're just playing for literally just whatever competitive prize pool there is, just for the heck of it, sure. But if you're a seasoned veteran and you're actively putting in the effort to be on the team or lead a team, whatever, if you're not going to Worlds, then it's just wasted effort in a way.
Till we end up heading into that.
To see which these teams.
Winners finals, losers semis.
take out the Reggie.
This is what I'm talking about. We don't really know previous match that Zarshan and that Umbreon being picked on up for their side.
Riar.
Okay, hold on. Let me see. That one, right? To what's the other team? Yeah, I forgot. I already forgot the name. I don't know why. Every time I open this tab, it's like it messes up with my window capture. It's weird. Yeah, it doesn't open, like, I'm so confused. Oh, there it is. Okay. Gen 5 Grim Reapers. Okay, sorry. I just need to double check that.
In a great position right now, and then, as we talked about before, Nouns Gen 5 coming up next to see who's going to be heading to Grands through the winter side.
Yeah, we're now at a point where like every match is getting
But other than that, a good look. How
finals, but we're at a pretty big event right now, and we can take a look now, starting at these.
Yeah, so this one's a best out of 5. Okay.
Interesting, and
Then is are just too much of a threat.
we're gonna see the return of.
So let me see here. Nouns are first pick, and Gen 5 get the 2 picks in their rotation. First ban was Blissey from Nouns. Gen 5 banned Snorlax. Like, I don't know. I'm genuinely surprised Snorlax is getting his banned as often as it is, considering it hasn't really changed at all. Hoopa got banned, and then Suicune got banned. First pick was Psyduck. First 2 picks from Gen 5 were Zacian and Umbreon. Lapras and Espeon. I believe this is the first Lapras pick since the tournament started, or at least like today started on stream. I don't remember Lapras being played at all. Espeon as well.
Espeon, which we only saw by the
Knew this was actually
Raichu and Talonflame, and then we have Darkrai and Gyarados.
Is the newest Pokemon to hit the fray, so I mean I feel like they'd still be pretty successful at running it, but I mean Adesu on Espeon. I know that Adesu loves all of those evolutions, so to see him rock that again is really interesting. But wait a minute,
Tyranitar.
Tyranitar?
That's a interesting
Not
pick.
a pick that I would expect, although I suppose maybe the true damage that it deals.
It's also more interesting because, like, in this case, like, Tyranitar doesn't have, like, anything to really, quote-unquote support it besides the Umbreon.
Really good against the Lapras and the shields of the Gyarados, maybe. I mean, I guess there's just a lot of shields on the side of now.
You got a lot of damage on the side of Gen 5, but
certainly
everyone's kind of just, like, fending for themselves in a way.
Meta pick. I don't know anything anymore about this game, as we've shown today. But that is very, very cool, and I'm sure Zoinks, wherever he is very excited for this. But
Well, I'm guessing it's lane Tyranitar with XP share, buddy, and then Talonflame jungle?
Let's go, baby!
Is there, as long as they
On the Alolan Raichu. So we're going to see a lot of really interesting support picks for sure today. But yeah.
closer to
Oh my god, I went so far ahead.
rotation up.
Dimension, you can see right above my head. Make that last. You can see on the screen, Nouns on the purple on the left, and Gen 5 on the
Yes, it
right.
is Talonflame jungle, and it is Darkrai jungle on the side of Nouns.
Winner side of Grand Finals.
Well, there is still a long road ahead. As you said, it is a best of 5, but we can see Toon on that Darkrai has taken that central area for their side, and we do have that Fletchling on the side for Gen 5.
Yeah, that's going to be a little bit of time until that Fletchling is fully powerful. But on the other side, the Darkrai, especially being a non-EXP share Darkrai, it's going to be scary pretty early. And again, yeah, we got to watch this because I have no idea how this Tyranitar is going to do. Utah playing it, it's probably a pretty good sign. But boy, this is a terrifying path to fight against. Lapras early on is very scary. Espeon early on is very scary. They go in, they immediately have to back up. Snow just saying, okay, well, we're not going to be able to be too aggressive there, even with a Pikachu in your path, which well, I mean, it's rolling right through Pikachu, but you're not going to have the range to deal with what that path can kind of defend against.
Well, I guess having that Alolan Raichu Pikachu, you don't actually have the stun that traditional Pikachu would have. Otherwise, we do have a rotation up in that top path. Indy is quite low, but able to eject button out there and save themselves as Gen 5 are able to soak up all of these birds. We still do not have a Gyarados on the field yet.
Yeah, it's going to be, I mean, the biggest thing is, a lot of times I've been known to say that 8 minutes is a pretty good average, but you really want to...
I mean, the top lane,
Right now.
the numbers advantage top lane was able to deny some experience, but the problem is bottom was in a 2 versus 1 because Pikachu rotated top. So
that's going to be really, really happy.
Pupitar are kind of, I don't want to say got starved because they're still doing pretty well overall in terms of experience. They got denied experience too.
A lot of aggression, a lot of attempts to stack maybe on both sides, and we are going to see London.
Yeah, you got a 2-level difference between Espeon and Pupitar, which is not great, of course. And Espeon is actually the highest level in the game right now.
You can see Utal is there defending that pad, not wanting to allow Bruv to get in any extra stacks, but they can't stop them with only 5 points. Otherwise, Toon is going to inch ever so closer to Zero, putting them to sleep. Not able to knock them out just yet, but foul play back into the KO, which means they get sent back to the Pokemon Center, followed up by that bird and dog.
That was a great, engage. That was a great foul play to take, half HP off of everybody there. But then Zacian was just not quite able to finish it all off. There was the potential to get 2-3 KOs right there. Just unfortunate, the damage a little bit low. So it wasn't a wrong call, per se, by Gen 5. It was just not quite enough damage. And Gatlu, now, especially with those extra KOs, getting the quick evolution is definitely going to be a scary threat as far as things go in the future. Toon Slim is going to put Utah to sleep, but not able to fully get the KO. It didn't seem like they were that focused on it. They just want the points. They want the experience.
Are you going to watch NA tomorrow? Yes, I am going to watch NA tomorrow, 100%. I don't know, because tomorrow's Mother's Day. Truthfully, I don't know. I keep forgetting. Well, I didn't forget about Mother's Day. I just keep forgetting that the NA's tomorrow. I want to, though.
All of that damage has grabbed themselves a berry, so is back at half HP, but Gen 5.
I will try, but I make no promises.
Test this Reggie Steel. Instead, you can see on the mini
It really just depends on whether we go out or if, we do something at home. Like order, special dinner or something or whatever.
Possibly? I thought they were going to be a little bit more aggressive with it now since they saw so many people down bottom. They finally are. They just shifted down. Maybe there was an EXP to get there. Nice! A beautiful eject button to get out of that Unite from the Gyarados, who did decide to stop defending. And
well, like I said, I'm not sure.
Didn't seem like they had too many.
I don't want to promise anything and then I don't end up doing it.
Quite a bit on points, 98 points. But I guess there was an opportunity maybe for somebody else to come in and score. They just left it at 12.
Yeah, that's surprising considering that Reggie Alecki was there, but I mean, we look at these points here, it's only Lunda that has full pockets at 30, so not being able to take that opportunity, but they're going in for a dive. Once again, we do have that flame sweep missing its mark.
I'm very curious to see how this Tyranitar works out in this
resource has been utilized.
Team composition.
And missing every single opponent, name a more iconic duo.
Walls, Talonflame and Walls.
Right now,
that is, well, that kind of does.
It takes time to scale, so it hasn't had time to have much of an impact.
Right now, we are going to see a great.
Got stunned by the Espeon Unite.
This is one of the first fights that we're going to see Utah at full power for. Right now, the Toon Slim getting the majority of the KOs and getting KO'd in return. A lot of the damage coming back from the side of Gen 5 after that first initiation.
Yeah, there's so much CC on the side of Nouns that Tyranitar can't even just fight freely because they're just getting stunned every second. Psyduck, Espeon,
we're only halfway through the game.
Darkrai
is pretty decent, but not huge, not game-ending. And Gen 5, definitely a team that pops off a little bit later on compared to Nouns.
Yeah, well, we already have that Talonflame that has reached that 11 mark, along with the Tyranitar at level 10, so it does have this Unite move.
I really would have liked to have seen a mean look from the Umbreon, especially if you have a T-Tar. It would have made it so much easier for them to get on top of someone.
And Umbreon also popping their Unite moves here, trying to look for a KO, but it looks like Bruv is going to use their Lapras Express to get themselves out of the way and back to safety. Dive back in with a huge surf to stun out Utao, but that Reg Ice still goes to the side of Gen 5.
It was a great play. It was really cool. Maybe could have hit a few more, but I mean, the fact that you were able to use that as an escape and then use it for something else, and then eventually you do get KO.
I mean, so far,
But
Gen 5 are
I think
pulling out all the stops.
now
They're
Gen
playing
5
aggressive.
Forward, Utah just standing on this goal zone.
Okay, they might have overextended.
You gotta expect the true damage is definitely going through those. Unfortunately, Utah will
They definitely
fall.
overextended.
Any major KOs happen. That's gonna be 2 more down on the side of Gen 5. Not able to get that push to work, and I certainly see the damage going through from the Tyranitar, but it's just not being followed up.
Is Tyranitar even united?
But it was
No idea.
just the amount of crowd.
I don't think
control
Tyranitar
that
has
the
united
Heroes
this
had
game.
there. They didn't even give the Tyranitar the breathing space to go and utilize their Unite move, provide them with that shielding. But we do have that other Reggie Alecki that has spawned on up, so Nouns are looking to take this for free with no one in Gen 5 in sight currently.
Yeah, this is going to go over to the tier 2. I'm assuming they're going to have to defend against that. You certainly don't want that lead to grow any further. I always like to say the 200 points lead is a pretty much what you want at the end of the game to make it so that, oh, well, they saw an enemy. They're like, whoa, I don't like that ring on the ground.
Jump scared then.
I mean, I didn't literally get jump scared, but the damage is jump scary, right?
I have still yet
You
to
definitely
see
that red ring on the ground, you're like,
someone
oh,
play Raichu in this
yeah,
tournament, and it's made like a huge impact in these games.
Because you don't know what's going to fall from the sky, but I mean, 2 minutes 54 seconds left to go. 208 to 79 points. So Nouns, they obviously have good control of the map with both of those tier 1 pads gone for Gen 5. But looking at the levels, Gen 5 have definitely caught on up.
Right, I think one good team fight could be everything. There's also a lot of AoE damage from everybody, literally every Pokemon on the side of Gen 5. So if
This could be the last team fight. Everyone's grouping up bottom.
This could go very badly, very quickly, and it looks like we could potentially get this fight to actually start, the final fight at the basement. Reggie, I don't know, Cesaro getting picked off immediately.
Yeah, that is actually huge for Nouns because now they're able to go and
Okay, well, they still spawned before Rayquaza, but they basically just lost Register for free.
We're missing Bruv. They're going to secure a special attack and attack buff moving into this final stretch.
Yeah, Bruv maybe just getting some vision, and nobody's going to be there, I think, to stop this score. Bruv didn't keep going up, so they're going to see this. We might see a rip on Ray at this point. Now knowing that there's nobody there, no, they're actually going to completely not. They knew they were ahead by a lot, but they are going to find the engagement, and we're going to see at least Gyarados coming in, popping that Unite, chasing around the backside, not able to catch anybody with that Unite, so everybody just splitting up. The only KO so far happening onto the Espeon on the side of Nouns. This is very, very close.
It is very close, but we still have some Unite moves on hand, especially that Tyranitar, but they get pushed.
Like, I'm still waiting for Tyranitar to pop off this game.
So, not able to make it on in, and you can just see the waves trying to keep him at bay, but now that they're on
They're going in.
do have Gen
They popped their
5
Unite move.
starting to shred.
Oh no, there's a lot of
They're
serious-
flipping.
This is really going to a flip. Will it be the fly? No, not going to be
Oh
the flip. It's
my
gonna be
God.
Gen 5, it was the fly in the end. I thought that was wrong, but great timing on that. And Utah now running with a huge shield, getting broken. However, we are going to see at least a Hundo Burger up, or sorry, down on bottom. It looks like maybe
Wait, did they not score?
was broken as
Oh,
well.
no, okay,
Now
Gyarados-
getting a huge
wait.
score in return. Wait, are all the shields broken?
Okay, Zacian scored. 327 to 308.
Breaking this 2-1 pad, it's still left on 20
Literally
points,
19-point
but now
difference.
Utah is caught up to
The thing is, they don't know who's
No
winning because,
other allies in
unless
sight
you're
to
keeping
go as
track
well
of,
there,
like,
but,
the literal
Utah
math,
isn't exactly, wait, they
the
actually
game
have the lead.
indicator or, like, the overlay already showed beforehand, so it's not going to show
Oh
again.
my gosh.
Right as we went over to this, it looked like they were.
I honestly think Nouns don't know that they're losing right now.
Does look like in the end, this lead will be going to Gen 5. There's still a chance if anybody can get over there, but the problem is they need to defend as well, and nobody's even close. They may not even realize that they're behind. Nouns is not booking it towards the other side. I mean, they're starting to now, but they had the opportunity. They didn't send anybody over there, and it doesn't look like anybody can score in time. 3 seconds left. Maybe Psyduck, maybe Ender. Can anything go in?
I think they realized it, but I think they realized it too late because it was like it took them so long to send anybody to the other side.
Going, but first match for Gen 5, taking that.
Yeah, I just don't think they realized it immediately.
In the end there, 308 to 367 points.
But that's my
That
guess. I have no idea.
For the majority of that match, getting obviously the back caps, but the Rayquaza shields, even if majority of them ended up getting broken, still paid off for them.
The funny thing is, the Tyranitar pick didn't really do much the entirety of the game. Or it didn't feel like it. Like, they were kind of like a sponge for damage, like pseudo tank. Who are you rooting for? Well, I already know who wins because I saw the Grand Finals live.
I mean, at that point, with only, what, 327?
But I'm not really rooting for anyone.
I mean, 19
Like Nell's already qualified for Worlds even before this tournament, if I'm not mistaken.
Anywhere if that other 40 had
So the result for them doesn't necessarily matter.
They didn't seem like they were in a rush.
Toon did have 11 points as they were rushing towards the goal, but
Who wins?
Alolan Raichu
Tune in
made
next
it
time
work.
to
So,
next
I
week's
mean,
episode
11
of
points that would've been
Dragon
enough,
Ball
but
Z. No, I'm
time
just kidding.
wasn't on their side. It seems like they were, not realizing, oh, hey, we might actually be behind here.
Yeah. Oh, definitely an interesting end, but I mean, we definitely can't 100% guess what happened at the end right there. However, it was really close, and we can talk about what happened the rest of the match, where this Rayquaza fight honestly didn't go as maybe expected, I would say. A lot of it did start from seeing that big back cap, which was undefended up top in that top tier 2 goal zone, with Gen 5 being able to catch up in points, and then they really engaged upon that. It seemed like one member got caught out on the side of Nouns, and they just weren't able to quite recover. It was a really awkward situation, but then, of course, even once they took Rayquaza, the shields were broken very quickly. They weren't able to hold on to that many of them, so it was really, really close either direction.
Yeah, but it is best of 5 after all. It is only the first game there, so there is that chance for that comeback. But we do have our player of the game. I mean, the big red circle on the ground. Well, this is because of Snow on the Talonflame, rocking that Flame Charge Fly build.
Yeah, I mean, even aside from like damage or KOs or anything like that, the big thing was just where they were as far as points, right? They were the ones who got the Hundo Burger in, back cap.
Are they not score? Bro, don't ask me, man.
Like point star.
I'm not. I don't know the
Also, they were
comms. I don't know
ones
these
who used
teams.
the Rayquaza with the fly. So both of those things hugely important. Really great timing on that. I actually, for a second, thought that they didn't get it with the fly, but I mean, their timing was just so perfect. And if it wasn't for all of that, certainly we do not see that as a win for Gen 5. But excellent, excellent play. So now we're going to go into game number 2, but a reminder again, I know I have to keep saying it, we're going to say this a lot this weekend, this is going to be a 3 out of 5 set. We normally don't get a chance to see these teams play against each other in so many back and forth games within a set. So a lot of time for adaptation. This is not potentially it for now. They've got time.
They do have time, but one thing they have to focus on is these bans. We have the Blissey and Hooper locked on down for Nouns once again. Snorlax and Suicune aren't going to see the light this time, but Nouns in their first pick position, Inda is going to make sure to lock in their trusty duck.
Yeah,
Oh shit! I was supposed to log into GTA at some point.
Perfectly solid choice
Forgot.
for the rest of this tournament, and especially
No.
like Ender, it's going to be so incredibly impactful. On the other side, we're seeing a lot of early Eldegoss picks.
Yeah.
Even when the support's picked on the other side. I mean, obviously, this is one where you could really pick both of those if you wanted to have the duck already and then steal away the Eldegoss. But I'm surprised at how high priority we're seeing from Eldegoss.
Was Eldegoss another one of those Pokemon that got hit by this secret patch that we haven't heard about?
I guess so.
Oh, but I mean, I guess we'll have to wait and see how it does pair up with the Zacian. The other 3 Pokemon still to come, but ooh, Gatlu is going to lock down the Talonflame for themselves, taking that away from Gen 5.
Well, there's still a lot of really good picks that they could go to, but we'll have to see what it ends up actually being. And yeah, I do have to expect that maybe there's a good chance that we could see, well, I was going to say the Darkrai stolen away, but this would be interesting to see a double speedster. Absol, no, okay, ooh, a Metagross as well, going to be a good pick, and that is what we're going to see. Metagross, we obviously saw how strong that was in the previous sets that we watched, but this is looking like a pretty strong comp, I would say, altogether from Gen 5 in my eyes.
Yeah, I think knowing that you have Gatlu on the Talonflame.
It's interesting that Buzzwole has barely been picked this tournament.
Being able to deal with
I think it was
the
banned
that may
in a
come
few
from it,
games
but
early
we
on,
get to
but
see Bravo and the Lapras once
it hasn't
again,
been banned,
and
but it's not been
Toon
picked either.
on the Buzzwole, unless there's going to be a switch up here later on during those final. Wait, I was going to say, are we going to see some Wiggly? No way, Utah plays Wiggly. No, they're going to play Leafeon this time around.
I do like the Leafeon. There's a lot of really scary Pokemon that you don't want to be perfectly next to, I think, on the side of Nouns. And so getting that extra range from the Leafeon is going to be pretty nice, especially though you're still going technically kind of 2 speedsters, right? But you've got a little bit extra range as far as it goes on them and a little bit more utility. So I do like that quite a bit. I really like Gen 5's draft. I said it before, continue to say it here. I feel like the side of Nouns' draft, I like it a lot too. I'm surprised that we haven't seen more Buzzwole after it got those pretty good buffs.
I think what's really interesting is they don't really have any long-range damage on either side. Yes, we do have a Desu on the Espeon.
This game looks so free for talent.
But this is just a very upfront, brawly composition. But even
I mean,
though
it really just depends
there
on
were a few battles here
if
and
Gen
there,
5 are able to
and
do
I
anything
remember
pre-level
really
7.
that impact
Because Talonflame really doesn't do
really
much
there.
until they
Just
hit level 7.
these squads play it a little bit more
But-
safe because, well, I mean, there is a lot on the line here for this match. Or whether
Gen 5 were
they're
able
actually
to kind of like
just
snowball
running
early
at each
game.
other this time
So we'll
around.
see.
Yeah, it's scary. I mean, the thing is, you don't really want to be close to each other on either side. So I'm not 100% sure what your best strategy is going to be. I do feel like the utility on the side of Gen 5 is a little bit stronger. Like they could maybe catch somebody with a sleep, or maybe catch somebody out with Metagross, who is probably going to be the only Pokemon who can safely just kind of like YOLO in and just be like, yep, that's my.
Up getting that nerf.
Oh
Quite a
god.
while.
For some reason, there's no let me. Okay, wait, hold on. 257.30. I'm gonna refresh my page just to see if there's like a preview for.
Probably going to be the only Pokemon who can safely.
Oh, there we
just
go.
kind of, like YOLO in and just be like, yep, that's my time to start.
You did not just say YOLO in.
You can do
At this point, because it is something we have seen pop up time and time again.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of it. I was talking about that earlier. Oh my gosh, I almost just got like one shot right there. But normally I'm a huge fan of it. You get so.
So this time around, it's Darkrai support and Leafeon jungle. Last time it was Darkrai jungle. So it's nice to see a little bit of a flex pick between this Pokemon.
It's so good while allowing everybody else to get that experience. And with the amount of damage that you want on Gen 5's team, I feel like that makes a whole lot of sense. But it's going to be definitely a different playstyle than we see when Toon Slim's playing it, who chooses to play it a lot more like a true, I guess, damage dealer.
Well, I feel like everything's bringing a little bit of damage to this match here, including the Psyduck as well. I mean, even though it ended up getting that nerf quite a while back, I feel like it's still really impactful. But one thing that isn't as impactful is going to be a Beldum, as Utah does get taken down by Nouns.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very potentially aggressive path. We saw this before, the Lapras plus the Espeon. That's going to be very hard to deal with. It does a lot of damage. It's kind of peak efficiency early on in the game, so you don't have to wait for it to be scary, while other things, like, for example, the Beldum are just not super powerful quite yet. And we're seeing that now with Nouns. It's a 61-point lead. They've got a KO lead. Everything's going in their favor. Looks like they might have got a pretty good amount of that center EXP as well. And just for extra EXP, the Leafeon, can they get one more? It looks like they will. This is looking like Nouns is very happy about the start of this game.
Yeah, and the fact that they have 4 members up here, able to dunk in some points. But one thing we have to point out as well, this is different from the Talonflame that we saw last match. Gatlu is running that Brave Bird composition, and I guess considering Gen 5's comp, the fact that they need to stick together, this Brave Bird could actually pay off dividends if they're able to hit multiple members and get that damage reduction.
Ooh, is that Leaf's life, by the way, which was buffed, so...
Talonflame is already level 9, and Leafeon doesn't even have their Unite move yet. That's such a huge problem. Like, especially when you're playing Leafeon jungle. Well, they just got the level 8 right now, but you're already 2 levels down the enemy jungler, and you have yet to make an impact on the early game. Not good.
Dunk right there, but they're so far ahead in points.
Okay, Leafeon just picked up a kill on the Espeon.
They just want to take this tier 1 before the Regieleki, who now is probably going in for free.
Yeah, this is a
So
really
Nouns are
interesting
choosing to
play
give up
from
bottom
Nouns
in
and
exchange for
Darkrai
top lane.
versus Regieleki, where Gen 5 are able
But
to
they're not
take this
really-
Regi steal for free. But it's just a matter of whether they're going to be able to defend that Regieleki, considering they don't have those jump pads available just yet.
Like, it wasn't really a collective effort. Like, they kind of just let Buzzwole to do their thing, and then they
Prioritize, quote unquote, I'm doing air quotes, you just can't
just
see
did
it.
like a little
Regieleki,
sweep around the area for
they sent
vision.
one person there when Gen 5 sent none, and the rest of their team was just like kind of off doing their own thing. Nobody tried to go down for the basement Reggie. Nobody tried to steal it. There was an invade, so it does seem like maybe there was some experience gain on the side of Nouns, and they are ahead by a lot of experience across the board, which now they're using to push down this basement tier 1. Well, looks like they maybe aren't going to get it, but they've got so much XP on their side as well, and they're ahead by so many points. Everything looking beautiful.
Yeah, this is actually looking really good. 191 points currently to 0 on Gen 5 side. We already have a level 11 Talonflame on the map, where the highest level so far on Gen 5 is that Zacian at level 10. But the benefit is that tier 1 pad has been depleted, so they have those comeback indeedies to try and get online.
Yeah, and it's wild to be at 191 points when there's still a tier 1 goal zone left. Like, that is pretty impressive, and it does seem like they're probably going to get it at some point soon. But at the moment, they don't really need the extra space. I get a feeling probably before the next Basement Reggie, they'll end up taking it or trying to take it, just so that they can continue to deny that Indeedee EXP, like you were talking about. But at the moment, everybody just kind of sitting in the center path. Not really a path, but the center area, waiting for anybody else to make a wrong move. And we are going to see now this Basement Reggie starting to spawn. No big movement from Nouns. A lot of people in Nouns are just standing still. Look at that. We got the bird just sitting in the center area. We can see the Buzzwole just sitting up top. Everybody's just kind of chilling.
I feel like there's some imitation happening here. They're trying to be sitting ducks. But really, it's funny how it was only the actual duck, the one that was only moving around. So, I mean, that's all backwards. But you know what? Moving on, we do have a Regirock here. Flamesweep able to chuck out 2 of those members up against the wall. Leafeon has been taken down. And Cesuro is trying to make a run for it, but it ends up being a Desu to finish the job.
That was a nice little combo of the Psychic Slayer and the Flame Sweep. It locked people in place so the Flame Sweep actually hit somebody, which is always going to be rare at this point. Right now,
This looks so chaotic.
Wow,
Like, you got Buzzwole and Metagross doing their thing in the top lane. Like, the rest of the team is trying to fight bottom, but they're not really in a position to do so. So, although nothing is really getting... Oh, wait. Oh, Leafeon gets it.
Able to get that secure, no good steal from the Espeon from a Desu. So it's interesting to see that they just backed up quite so far. U-Town now trying to get some points in up top. Is that Regieleki is there and untaken.
Oh, but look at this. This is going to be a juicy overdunk in that bottom path. Now putting Nouns at 241 to 45 points. As Gen 5 were able to get in some points up in that top path, but we can see 3 members of Nouns are going to rotate up, looking to ambush this Metagross who's left all alone.
Yeah, you can see from the 1.1.1 point willing to probably get KO'd for that last 1 point that Utah was certainly down on stacks a lot, which makes sense because this is the first point scored in that game. But that was 3 stacks now, 3 scores, and it was like 44 and then 1 and then 1 or something like that, or 46, 1-1, I don't know, something like along those lines. So that's going to be nice, at least for going later on, even if they did get KO'd. That's going to be a nice way to help them get into the fights. However, the Regieleki, while it was alone up there for a long time with Utah, was not taken by Gen 5. And now it's pushing down to this tier 2.
Oh, this is a risky maneuver from Nouns, considering there is those jump pads available, but Darkrai ends up getting taken down, so Nouns are not going to get sent to sleep. Instead, they're just going to go full force, looking to utilize their Unite moves, but the wall ends up cutting off that Flame Sweep. But even then, after all of that, all members of Gen 5 were wiped out along with the goal.
That was a great play, and it's funny, like you said, it is a more signature combination, I guess. Lunder is still trying to 1v1 a Desu, but the trade!
Jeez.
All right, everybody go to sleep.
I mean, that's not a bad trade.
But
No, we still have a
Under-level Darkrai gets the KO on the Espeon.
I'm taking a nap right now.
No, we have 25 seconds left to go until the Rayquaza.
True. Okay, I'll take a 20-second nap, 19-second nap. Let's go.
You're going to miss it. You're going to blink and you're going to miss it. But you know what?
That already happened to me today.
347 points to 48. Obviously, it is a best of 5 this set. So, but Gen 5, I mean, what better way? I mean, 2 points on the board if they can somehow make a comeback. But, well, we have 4 level 13s over on their side.
Oh yeah, it's certainly doable. I mean, there's a level 15 on the side of Nouns, but aside from that, they're like not doing badly. It's just they have to deal with Gatlu. Otherwise, they're not going to stand a chance. And this Metagross could be a good option for it. Metagross, though, being chased down right now. Toonslim going in super deep to try and get that KO. Flame Sweep not going to catch anybody this time, and that's going to be a big win for Gen 5. Just getting rid of that 2 members of Nouns down now.
Megu on 1 HP and a dream able to make it on out. Galu is going to chase him down. As
It always
Ninja
triggers
is
when,
looking
like,
to
it always
disturb
triggers me when
Wonder, but
people
now they're getting
don't
chased
unite
down
move
by
in the
Paul
last team
Nemesis.
part of the game.
Bruv hiding in the tall grass ends up getting exposed by
There's
Indy,
Eldegoss
and they
tonight,
may
finally.
potentially be the next target, but I mean, with 2 members of Nouns down, Gen 5 are now going to go in for the rip.
Lands on the leap, Beyond.
Galu's still available here. I mean, Bruv could
It's at
still
25%,
Galu
20%,
have to be
15%,
careful. It's not-
Oh my god!
Eldegoss getting the final secure. There's still
Out of all the things in that pit, the Eldegoss gets it.
Nouns are down, but we are going to see Darkrai not able to get that shield. They were still KO'd for the side of Gen 5. We got to see how many points they can actually get in. Ender not going to be able to break this shield for sure. Hundo Burger number 1 going in. We need more than 2, right? So the next Hundo Burger will still leave them behind. They've still got tons of shields, and it does look like that's going to be possibly the next one. They're sneaking all the way around. That's such a small shield. There's no way. That's so scary. Can you get it in?
Oh, nice
they
play.
do. Still not quite with the lead. They've got tons of shields. I don't know how Nouns is going to stop this.
You have got to give credit to Megu there to utilize their moves. That way they can go and increase their shield. That way they can pull off that dunk. But as you said, 347 to 314. We do have Levion who has 50, gets in the dunk, and now it's 347 to 514. Somehow, Gen 5 have done it again.
They have, from a huge deficit, Gen 5 will win
I think at
2
this point of the
games
game,
straight.
I don't think
What
the
a
Nouns have gotten a
comeback.
single
A
Rayquaza today.
beautiful
Like in the matches that I've
turnaround,
seen,
all from that fight at
like their
Rayquaza.
Rayquaza
They
game has been
matched up
like
levels.
weird.
They managed to do a great job. But again, that's not the end of the set. That's still only going to be a 2-0 lead. However, with the amount of times that Nouns has defeated Gen 5 over the course of this season, Gen 5 now being up 2 games against them is huge.
Yeah, it is massive. I mean, just that whole match.
I mean, it's a little bit unfortunate for Gatlu that he just wasn't able to beat
Who wins,
that
tell
fight
you?
in the last game. But I mean, he was level 15. He got so many KOs, and then the other side.
all right. Spoilers, guys. If you want to know, if you don't want to know, you might want to cover your ears. I'll give you 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nouns wins. It was like the most one-sided grand finals I've ever watched. Nouns wins. Nouns won. Gen 5 qualified for Worlds in this tournament, I believe through championship points. So basically, they still have to determine one more team that goes to Worlds from EU. And then tomorrow we'll determine the second team going to Worlds from NA.
Game before that, it was huge as well. So let's just take the bird off the board.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I thought you were talking about the
Now,
tournament.
considering we do have players on
No,
inside
I
that
thought you were talking about the
can play
tournament.
it, But Nouns is
Nouns
going
wins.
to take away the Zacian from Gen 5 as first pick. So no Duck this time round, but Megu has locked in that Metagross, which has actually been looking pretty well so far.
Yeah, so even, like, I didn't watch these matches. Like, I only saw the grand finals live because I was watching on stream. But the thing is because I know Nouns wins, I know that they come back 3-2.
If it's going to be that trick move set.
It's actually interesting. Despite the fact that we've seen Psyduck banned so much, I feel like it hasn't been super impactful in the games that it has been here. And maybe it's just due to kind of how these fights and how these teams have played out. But we're going to see it potentially go through an entire draft unpicked, as Inder this time is going to be going with the Blissey, and Bruv this time going with the Trevenant. And Tree is not a Pokemon that we've seen so far today, but obviously still huge, one of the biggest CC defenders in the game. And back we go to the Decidueye.
Yeah, Lundaroo locking it on.
Who can
here.
make it through
Doesn't
losers
have the
bracket?
Experience shared just yet, but we obviously know things can change. Snow locking in at this Zera Aura. I mean, considering there isn't really a backline there that Nouns have as of yet, definitely an interesting pickup here. So I'm wondering what Utah is saving for that last spot.
I'm curious as to why we're seeing the Zera Aura. I would say that of all the targets for Zera Aura on the other side, there's none. I just said that in a weird way, but okay, all right, we're going to see another starter here, and I do have to say, Gen 5's team is so
This
slow
team comp
to
looks so
start,
weird
right?
to me.
They've got 3 Pokemon that need full evolutions. The hoop on the Zera
Yeah,
Aura
the
is
draft
very
gap here is like, this makes no sense to me. Like, I think at this point, Gen 5 may have gone a little complacent or cocky drafting a team like this, because, like, people have been playing to support Decidueye in this tournament. It's been, like, a reoccurring thing. I don't know why it's suddenly become meta in EU. But yeah, support Decidueye has been a thing this tournament. So support Hoopa, support Decidueye with XP share. You literally have no front line unless you're including Metagross. You have no front line. You barely have any utility. And then, depending on whether Hoopa goes Trick or Hyperspace Hole, you debatably have no sustain either. Unless you're referring to like your own base kit. So, yeah, like this draft, like even if I didn't know Nouns won this tournament, I would still look at this team comp the exact same way. Like, it genuinely makes no sense. I would say the only limitation on the side of Nouns is the fact that they have no range, because everything's melee. But besides that, it's like, against this team comp specifically, they just outscale completely.
Are going to have a tough early game for Gen 5. If we get to the late game, however, I think they got to be pretty happy. And also, they are going to have the ability to, use the Magikarp on the other side as a little bit more of like a slow start for them to get on board.
Once again, they are really keeping us on our toes this regional finals. It is a completely, well, not a completely different look, but a completely different look for Nouns so far. A little bit of mix-ups here for Gen 5, especially with this Greninja pick. I mean, earlier on in the day, we did see Greninja as the top pick Pokemon? Or was it
highest win rate?
Highest win rate? So whether Utah is going to be able to contribute to that, we'll have to wait and see. But one thing I'm worried for Nouns here is they're all melee based. They have no range over on their side.
I don't know what to tell you, man.
How are they actually going to deal with Decidueye?
Like I'm assuming they got complacent. That's my guess,
or
or like they got cocky.
their own.
Because that draft, like this draft, makes no sense.
One thing I'm worried for Nouns here is they're all melee based. They have no.
But then once again, like in hindsight, we may be questioning the draft, but at the end of the day, they still qualify to Worlds. Like, it's literally just, they're playing for prize money at this point, so they can play whatever they want, and it doesn't really change the overall outcome too much.
Sniping away, or even this Greninja.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. Greninja is going to be really, really good at harassing with little bits of poke damage. It even got that nerf a few patches ago where it...
Really?
Yeah, I got a nerf.
I don't even remember that.
The direct line was like something along the lines of like it just regenerated too much HP when it was throwing water shurikens. And yeah, so there's going to be a lot of good harass. And I do agree this is going to be very much a spacing game from Gen 5. But they only need one more to make it into Grand Finals here in a game number...
Decidueye lane. Oh, sorry, Decidueye support.
Themselves. 3 games straight is what they're going to need.
Decidueye support with Greninja lane. Like, that's crazy, bro. And Landa support Decidueye's already dead. That's so fucking funny. Yeah, that's like the biggest cope I've ever seen. If I was playing Greninja, like,
not gonna get a KO, but you can't just see.
I'm sorry, like, I look at these guys like this. They're trying to... I think they're trying to, like, shift the meta over here in EU, and, like, for me, it just doesn't make sense.
A pretty tough path, I think, for the... or, like, to see, like, any... Well, never mind. I was going to say some true KOs up top. We're going to see the true KOs.
But then somehow Zacian dies to these guys, so it's like, oh, comeback experience.
That's actually pretty good. They want that experience on that Pokemon.
But the fact that we've had the Beldum down in that bottom path the past couple of matches for Gen 5, but sending a Rowlet and a Froakie into that bottom path, I mean... If there is a definition for squishy, that right there. Froakie and a Rowlet together.
Yeah, so I actually didn't look at this, but it seems like it's pretty obvious. It's the EXP shared Decidueye again, right? Yes, okay. So we didn't even, I didn't even look at that. There's so many things to think about this draft. But that is like the most solo queue path I've ever seen casting UCS. I think that is pretty much guaranteed.
I'm surprised not many teams jungling anymore. Because
Because
overall, it's not worth it. A lot of the Pokemon that people are playing are like a lot of the Pokemon that people are playing in the jungle are not really affected too much about losing a camp or two. So you're probably losing out more when you invade than like the pros don't outweigh the cons.
Yeah, well, it'll happen eventually, a little bit slower than usual. We are going to see, it looks like, I think actually was some of that stolen away by Hoopa.
I would probably
mean,
only
it does happen
consider
right at that same time, so
invading the enemy
looks like
team's
everything was
jungle
better. It was only Hoopa
if
there.
the jungler in question significantly benefits from their level 4 or 5.
This match, it's just,
And, like, you
as
can
things
actually
go on
deny it
longer,
properly,
they are gonna
but-
lose more and more control as this season
Oh,
goes.
nice
Up the
pull.
I love the pull.
That was so clean coming out from Snow to yoink back.
Very
the
nice
back
pull.
row, but
That's
it's
huge.
Pokemon out, and now they're able to go and secure all of this wild Pokemon down in that bottom half. But different story up in the top for Nouns as they're able to get in some points of their own.
That is one of my favorite pieces of tech in this.
Meanwhile, in the top lane, though, we got WWE Super Slam.
Immediately, and look at this aggression from Nouns. They said they are not gonna go quietly. They're not gonna let that 3-0 happen easily. But again, like I said, this is still the early game where we are finally seeing the Greninja as the first fully evolved Pokemon on the side of Gen 5, but nothing else yet. And it is going to be Gen 5 getting the Basement Reggie, which is pretty huge considering the fact that they just need that little bit of EXP to get everybody up to their evolutions.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see Nouns give up that Basement Reggie once again, prioritizing this Reggie Alecki. Looks like no one from Gen 5 is there to defend it on the minimap, so it does end up crashing on through. Otherwise, once again, we're playing a game of sitting ducks in the tall grass in the middle section.
Sitting cats, sitting owls, sitting somethings, not sitting Gyarados, whatever Gyarados are. We are going to see that Gyarados chase down and try to get that KO. The Unite even coming out. That is very, very aggressive, especially when you have a Decidueye. Oh my goodness, that is going really far, Gatlu. That is going super far. But hey, they're actually almost playing that like a defender, where they're spacing.
Ah, it's Water Streak and Greninja too.
While their own team is able to score a lot into that tier 1 goal zone. They weren't KO'd.
Which actually makes
Very
sense
damage.
against this
Now,
specific
we're
team
gonna
comp.
see still a little bit
It's
lower
not like you're gonna be
position.
like, you don't want to be in melee range, but at the same time.
Back into defend, but it's not
Oh,
gonna
nice
be
pull
back
from
on.
Zero again.
Snow with
No
that
follow-up
double
damage, though.
blink there on Gatlu. They weren't able to finalize the KO.
Metagross
but
just
it
died in a
is,
1v1 top
one
lane, which
thing
isn't
that
good.
Gatlu
And they had
needs to
Unite
really
move,
set
which
back
is
home.
also really
I don't
bad.
think it's just yet, but we can see the minimap. There is a lot of yellow dots to go and secure.
Ooh, almost got that steal right there on the Altaria.
Oh, they're not scoring? Or are they scoring?
We've seen a lot of sniper. Yeah, I did it again. A lot of.
I can't see the points on the top lane goal, so if they didn't score, I'm assuming it would probably break the top lane goal, which they don't want to do considering they're ahead.
Super different.
But there's a 2-level difference between those top lanes.
11, 10, 10 on the side of Nouns, and the highest on the side of Gen 5 is 10. So they need to fight their way back into this. They need to play, either safe.
But yeah, so far they haven't really, like,
And maybe a pull.
nothing has really gone right for Gen 5 in this game, so obviously Team Com diff more than anything else.
To get towards this Reggie steal as we do have another going there on Bruv, but they are able to make it on out with half hate.
The Zera has been on point with their discharge pulls, though, I will say that.
Their side, but Phantom Force is going to come on out, and Snow not only popping off these Volt switches, but also getting the secure for their team. Huge.
Snow is doing an amazing job right now. Gatlu, getting united on, staying up for just a little bit, manages to get out. The waterfall extra ability is huge. I'm surprised there weren't more KOs in that situation from both sides.
Did you just see that? London was able to escape through the Hooper portal, but we do have Tuna being able to punch them in the back. Send them back to the Pokemon Center, but now the majority of numbers for Nouns is here, so whether they're going to be able to break this pad is definitely going to be the question. It's on 26, and Gatlu able to get 40. Wait, actually, that was really quick. I didn't end up getting to do my quick math there.
It was 36 overdunk, so a really strong overdunk in the end. They did good quick math, not the easiest thing to do in the world. But now we're almost at a 200-point lead for Nouns, with only minute 50 left to the final stretch, and the levels on the side of Gen 5 are, they're behind, but yeah. If they can find some big boost, I feel like they almost have an advantage. But if they can't find that big boost, they're going to have so much trouble dealing with the fact that there's a lot of self-sustain on the side of Nouns, especially with anything with a Bliss assistance. You're just not taking that down if you're 2 or 3 levels behind.
I mean, I guess this is the thing with having 3 late scalers over on your side, only having those tier 1 pads deleted later on in the game. They're just not able to gather that experience earlier on. So they do have that option position here, but it looks like Nouns aren't looking to give it over to them as they're going to rush on forward towards this tier 2.
That was a really late Unite coming out from Gatlu right there, 3-minute mark, but I mean, they're definitely going to have some time to farm. It's just you're going to have to really kind of pay attention to that.
Bro,
as we're getting towards
we're
the end.
1 minute away from Rayquaza, and Zera's just hitting level 11 as a jungler. That's insane. They're so starved for experience right now.
Or maybe the last things that they're going to get. And Diddy's spawning up top as I'm speaking, but they have an objective that's potentially really important down on bottom. I don't know if they want to fight for it. They're behind in levels, but if they can get a win or a pick here, that's huge.
Yeah, that is going to provide global experience as we do have a potential steal.
Oh, okay.
But it actually ends up being Lunda.
Greninja won't have Unite for Rayquaza.
Decidueye to lock it down with the Spirit Shackle.
That's huge. Like you said, the global XP is going to be big. The buff's going to be big to help and mitigate the, I guess, power difference coming from these extra levels. ToonSlim, you can see his XP right there, is looking towards getting level 14 by the time we get to this final stretch, and that's definitely going to happen after taking this. In the middle, though, we are going to see some pre-positioning from both sides.
Yeah, Gen 5 are so starved for experience right now.
Scary spot, does not get caught out.
Barely level 12 jungler.
Flank, as we're going to have to see Gen 5
most of the experience is on...
Yeah, they're going to have to
That's
wait
pretty
for
equally
Mogu
divided,
Hunter,
actually.
Drake
Highest level on the
Race,
team is
even Snow to try
they're
and
gross.
get another isolation. So it's just another game of sitting ducks. But look at this, Gatlu almost caught on out, but it looks like they're able to make it back through that chokehold. Megu not looking to commit.
And we see another flank kind of in the southeast. This is a weird fight. Everybody's kind of splitting up. I think this is the perfect spot where we see those big stretchy things. Oh, they're attempting to score. Yeah, the big stretchy camera. I don't know why I call it stretchy. But you can see everybody rotating around a lot. Bruv, look where Bruv is in the total southeast. And Gen 5 completely pushed back up to where their tier 1 was. They are super grouped. If any big unites land on them, that could be the end of this game for them. However, nobody's doing damage, and Gen 5 need to be the ones to make the first move.
Yeah, they are the ones that are behind it. Points at 264 to 54. But low we go. We're going to have the dive. Utah super duper low as Toon is left unattended, trying to utilize their moves. But it ends up being the Bliss assistance from Indy to go and save them.
Oh, ToonSlim's still very, very low, but these shields are just infinite. You just cannot take it down. But wait, now ToonSlim down. Adesu getting extremely low. However, there's only 2 members left.
Bro, Hoopa's holding their Unite, and literally everyone's... Not that it wouldn't matter, but like, Hoopa's holding their Unite move, but everyone's just dead.
Is still up. A few members will be back up, but they got to get in not only... I mean, they not only have to take Rayquaza, they need to get in 300...
And then on top of that, like, when people are spawning, like, their only win condition is Rayquaza, and Hoopa's not in position to use their... I mean, it's a little late now. 15 seconds, even if they get it, they don't have enough time to score.
Rayquaza is at half HP, but none of Nouns are in sight.
And Tree gets it too.
To Gen 5.
So funny, dude.
What?
Wait, 6 seconds left. Oh, it's in a bound form. It's in a bound form. He couldn't score. Oh, wait, they scored. Is that going in? That going 84 points up top? I actually have no idea who's in the lead here. They had to get so much. I don't think they made enough. I don't think Gen 5 made enough, but there's only one way to see. We got to see.
Do we see it on the big screen? Oh, there we.
Oh, no, wait, what was that backcapping? I didn't get to see that backcapping at all. They backcapped like 300 points.
I did see little points going on.
I don't know. I generally don't know how the caster thought this was close.
An 8? That
at all.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah, that was a lot. I think, yeah, I mean, I guess we just didn't see it, but really good stuff. Nouns closing that one out. I was like, this is close, but it was not close at all.
Just when we thought Gen 5 had it there, Nouns just stomping that down. Once again, it's that curse. Okay, we were wrong once again, what can I say?
Yeah.
But, I mean, even then, we look at this graph. Nouns did have the dominance throughout that match. Obviously, interesting plays to go for these Reggie Alekis.
But also, just one was picked. On the other side, I feel like...
Okay, let me see. Suicune first pick, Zacian and Blissey, followed by Umbreon to counter the Blissey, Raichu, Gyarados. That means, wait.
Maybe you
Zacian bottom lane then? Potentially jungle?
Just be going for a comp where you just never... You just run at them. And that does look like a little bit more like...
It could be Zacian jungle. No, wait, no, it can't be. I think it's probably Gyarados top lane, Zacian bottom lane, and then Darkrai jungle.
What's gonna happen?
Yeah, I mean, you've just got...
And then we got a Blaziken and Talonflame from... So, they went back to a more meta, or like a traditional team composition, which is obviously
going into
Better for them.
a Zacian, this is definitely going to be a tricky match for them. I mean, even then, in terms of secure, we have a Talonflame and a Blaziken, two of the best securers on the side of Gen 5.
Yeah, it's, I mean, there's some, like, counter-secure on the side of Noun, so if you use that Unite move from Gyarados, or if you put somebody to sleep, you know, with the Darkrai, then you can maybe try to get that secure with the Zacian, for example, but it's definitely a situation where you probably don't want to try to get into a flip if you're Nouns, and honestly, it kind of looks like they're just going to be running it down anyway. I'm not sure that we're going to even get into that situation unless it's kind of forced upon them. But we'll end up seeing exactly what the decision is. This is it's a very aggressive team from the side of Nouns. They have to be aggressive, especially when there's so much strong range damage on the other side. It is EXP share Suicune, but it's still going to be very, very deadly, and combined with the time, more than most normal sets. So we are going to see, oh wow, is this the Zacian bottom path? This is interesting.
It is. It's a Desu as well on the Zacian, so Desu is quite flexible in terms of those picks. Obviously, yes, we saw them run that Espeon, but you've got to lock in this Zacian considering Gen 5 have been running it so much.
Yeah, Zacian has been, I feel like almost quietly a big MVP Pokemon for today so far, and I expect that we're going to see it the rest of the weekend. It's definitely not in a spot where you ban it or you choose something really specifically against it, but it's been securing, it's been doing a ton of team damage, it's strong early, everything about it's been doing really well.
Yeah, Nouns definitely have that early game composition, bar that Magikarp, if it can come online or earlier on. But even then, you know, Magikarp, as long as it's up there, getting those dunks, getting those KOs, getting that wild Pokemon. I mean, I'm talking about it, and I've just seen Gyarados at level 4 pop on up on that side.
Yeah, 8:30 is a great time for that. Nouns has to be very happy. Their early comp is really scary now. Like they're at 100% at like basically their maximum strength. The other side too, they don't have to wait for too much evolution, a little bit, mostly that Blaziken, but I feel like we're going to see some early aggression. And Gatloo certainly is getting some stacks in. It feels like that's what we've been seeing. That's also, without any KOs, that's pretty much what's going to be filling that
Shit.
gauge.
Okay, sorry guys, I actually do have to go. I gotta go do something. Ideally, I'll try to finish this, like, if I do stream tomorrow, I will finish this, tomorrow, hopefully, but, like, I want to stream tomorrow, I do, it's just, tomorrow's Mother's Day, so I can't promise I'll be around tomorrow for the tournament. I do really want to watch it, because it is the second last one prior to NAIC, but yeah, if I don't see you guys tomorrow, you'll definitely see me on Monday. But yeah, I gotta go. So if I don't see you guys tomorrow, happy Mother's Day to all your mothers. And, you know, for those of you that are not able to celebrate, for whatever reason, then, you know, hopefully you just have a great weekend regardless. I will see you guys tomorrow, hopefully. And if not, Monday for sure. Monday we're back to solo queue. But yeah, I gotta go, guys. Sorry.